The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
So you guys ever watch Wallace and Gromit?
I think I've seen like one or two of them. Yeah.
You know
Saw it as a
how-
child.
You know how like Wallace has those protruding cheeks?
Yes.
Like not his butt cheek, his face cheeks. He's got protruding
Yes.
chops.
No, I understand. Yeah.
I the other day had a popsicle, and it was on a popsicle stick, and to amuse my my housemates, I finished the popsicle and I took the popsicle stick and I put it in my mouth so it would poke out at the sides of my face cheeks, and I was just like, Gromit. I couldn't like talk properly because I had this fucking popsicle stick in my mouth. I was like, Gromit, I would like some cheese grommets Wednesday. And yeah, it was just a damn good time. But yeah, Wallace and Gromit is terrific. I would actually love it if we could get like an Aardman animation Sonic thing. That would be sick.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just any new style would be preferable.
I was just
even if
thinking,
it was just to try it.
like, if, you know, photorealistic CGI is just not an option for whatever reason, like, what different avenues could you take? And one of them would just be like, hey, like, Aardman Animation have lower budget pipelines and stuff, hence how they make the Shaun the Sheep TV series and stuff like that. So I was like, give us like a claymation Knuckles series where Knuckles like notices that Big the Cat is a very solitary creature who's happy to stay in one place and is just like, why don't you become the guardian of the Master Emerald? You know, you can use your fishing stick in combat if necessary, but also you could just sit in front of this thing and fish all day and just have a great time.
That's actually a great idea. I hadn't thought of that.
So there's my pitch for Knuckles Season 2. Or Season 1, Knuckles the Reboot. We're going to call it The Knuckles. And yeah, that's my idea. Paramount, if
Can
you...
they hear us yet?
Yeah, they can hear us. We're on.
Oh, cool.
I always just like beginning
Hi.
with something completely unrelated.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
I never noticed.
Shut up. Why do I have to keep reminding you then, huh? Why'd you even fucking ask me in the first place? Do you think I like
I'm
hitting
just
you,
an
Dylan?
old guy.
Do you think I like
I'm
hitting
just
you,
an old
huh?
guy.
Do you think this makes me feel good, Dylan?
I'm starting to think so.
Maybe just a little. Well, welcome everybody to Sunset City, the Sonic podcast. With me today is, as usual, Dylan.
Hello, I'm here.
That was so theatrical. That was so unnecessarily theatrical.
I'm making art right now, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. So I'm really excited about
It's
it.
just in art mode. And we've also got returning, we've got IanWaffles.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was a bit of last minute, but I'm happy to be on the show.
Hell yeah.
always
Yeah, it
glad
was
to have you
super
here.
last minute. It was like yesterday we were just talking about, I think it was Knuckles, and
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck, I want to talk to you, Ian. Let's, come on, let's chat. Let's do this.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, last time it was a blast, and people really seemed to enjoy the episode. But I don't have low art, so this time I'm on my own. So we'll see if I can do okay.
You're in the deep end.
You will be fine. You will be okay.
You
That's
will...
not-
All right, now first step. What is the square root of 155?
I would hope it's Sonic, because
Uh-oh.
otherwise I don't know why I'm here.
Ian, there's a skeleton
It's
in the
alright.
room and he's going to eat you. Ian, he's here for you.
Well, there we go. Well, it was fun being on while it lasted.
Oh well, do you boys have the piss open?
No, I'm busy.
Wait, Ian, did we... Well, last time we were here, did we even have the piss open? Did you have the piss? I don't think he knows what the piss is, does he, Dylan?
I don't think
I don't think so.
Here's the piss. It's just a little docket to guide us through our adventure.
Oh, okay. Well, I think last time it was just simply because we only talked about Archie because there was no news. So
Yeah, there was nothing to really say but Archie, but yeah, the pink stuff is for me there. That's for me to just remember some points that I want to throw out. But okay, so we do have a tiny, teeny bit of news, but first, the terms and conditions of the show. If you are the kind of person that likes to send super chats, I love you, but we do read super chats out at the very end of the show. So if you're sending a super chat and you're wondering, like, why aren't these guys answering that it'll be at the end. We just do that so it doesn't break up the main topic too much. But we're very grateful for all of them. We will read them. Don't you worry. We've got you, cuz. And the show is, as always, brought to you thanks to our many great patrons who are over on patreon.com, where you can, well, you know what to do. So, yeah, first up, we've got a tiny little nugget of news. Ian Flynn was asked about Shadow on Bumblecast. Someone asked about the recent Tales tube, and if that was just
People were
like
not happy about this.
If it was just like a parody, or if that's the direction that Shadow is taking going forward, to which Ian responded, yeah, that's how Shadow is going to be going forward, as far as the main series Sonic goes. Now, Ian, you weren't here.
He sounded like a kicked puppy while he said it.
He did.
So, Ian, you weren't here when we talked about the Shadow tube. How do you feel about it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, no, I've seen it. So here's the thing. I am somewhat of a unicorn in the Sonic fan base because I am a Sonic fan who is completely content with anything I've gotten with Sonic because of Archie. I don't really care if the games are good or bad or the movies are good or bad. It's all Gucci to me. If it's bad, then it'll be funny. If it's good, then I get more good Sonic stuff. So a lot of the kind of discourse surrounding the Shadow characterization, I understand where people are coming from, where like Shadow just hasn't been around in hardly any games. So it's like every time there's a new Sonic thing, unfortunately, whether it's from Ian Flynn's mouth or from the YouTube channel or any of those things.
I thought you said from Ian Flynn's mouse.
Mouth. My bad. Yeah. All those things are just pointing towards the inevitable, like, one time you get your favorite character back and hoping that they're just this time, please be good, please be good. And from watching that, I can say,
Same.
I just think, like, like I said, I already have my Shadow. I love Archie Shadow. He had a perfect story for me, and I think as far as the games, I really enjoyed what he had during Heroes and SA2, and even a little bit of Shadow. So I'm kind of like good on Shadow. I don't have that fire in me of like I really hate where this is going, but I understand all the reasons in which people aren't happy. And I think a big thing that, because some people are talking about like, oh well, it does make sense that they have this rivalry. They've always had a rivalry, and people when they have these conversations, they're always just like one or the other, and I don't think they're really acknowledging that there's nuance to Sonic and Shadow having a banter and a dynamic. Whereas this really does come across as if like they're cranking that relationship for comedic purposes. But Sonic and Shadow, a lot of their interactions are very sparse. They're very quick because they just kind of instantly get each other. Like the idea, like in 06, when it's like, don't be late, same to you. And, they just go. But whereas in this, it's just talking. And I think that that's what most people are afraid of, is that instead of their dynamic being kind of like you understand it, they clash and then they move on, or whatever. It seems like this is implying that there's going to be a lot of back and forth. And Ian Flynn already likes writing a lot of dialogue, for better or worse. So I think that's where all that fear is coming from, is that they're not only going to like crank it up to 11, but Ian Flynn's writing style will necessitate that he will write even more interactions of this ilk, because he just likes having the characters talk to each other. So I understand it from all sides.
Yeah, I think my thing is, I'm obviously like completely fine with them having a bit of a rivalry. I think it might be partly down to like how Tails and Sonic word it, when they're like, these two don't get along and fight more often than not and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, which doesn't make any.
Yeah, it's never been that they don't get along. It's that they've kind of held different ideologies that sometimes clash, but ultimately they just kind of keep themselves to themselves, kind of like. And
it's always weird to me when people. It's always weird to me. I'm sorry. It's always weird to me when people say that Shadow is Vegeta, because Vegeta hates Goku. Like, he hates Goku a ton, but obviously in a really small way, he admires him for his strength, but in a very competitive. In a competitive and almost like deadly way, like for a lot of Vegeta's storyline. And so like I just don't really get that when people compare that to Shadow, because I don't think Shadow's ever been like that jealous of Sonic. It just kind of seems like Shadow knows who he is, and it's kind of like a different form of like Knuckles and Sonic, where both of them know who they are and they clash because of those reasons. Whereas the way this is kind of depicted, it's more so like they despise each other, which doesn't make any sense to me.
And I'm gonna throw a little bit of love towards Sonic Prime real quick, because they do show Sonic Prime in there. And what's funny is I think Sonic Prime, like, for all the shit I've given it, it got Sonic and Shadow's dynamic right, in that Shadow would rather keep himself to himself. He's ideologically different, but he still has some respect for Sonic, ultimately. And also, Sonic likes Shadow, even if he recognizes that he's rubbing him up the wrong way. He likes him and he uses it as a source of banter. I think Prime absolutely got that right. Like, and like, you know, Sonic being like, I didn't know you were a hugger, is like, do you want saving or not? Is like, that's very them to me. This whole, oh, we don't get along, I don't know about this, Tails, I don't think this is a good idea, I thought we weren't going to invite Shadow today thing, I don't like that. That ain't doing it for me. Because it feels like it also kind of undercuts what their dynamic was in Sonic Adventure 2. Like, they weren't opposed to each other because of, you know, oh, we're so different, so I hate you. It was more just kind of like, we're on different ends of this conflict. And then when they come together, they're really respectful towards each other. Like, Shadow is like, what if you're the ultimate life form? You know? And it's just like, oh, you. Right. You sweetie
Dylan,
pie.
I like lost connection for like a few seconds there. I was alone with my thoughts.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on it? Because we both kind of gave ours.
This is about the Tails tube, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shadow Tube, I'm going on it. Like, just so people know what episode.
Ah, clever. Yeah, so I thought, I kind of agree with you, Ian. I think that, like, usually we see them interacting in very short snippets. So obviously, having a full conversation, it's going to feel a little bit different. And I don't mind it being different. Like, they can still have that respect. They showed they have a little bit of respect for each other, but they're begrudgingly admitting it because they're on a silly internet show with, you know, one of their mutual friends. So it felt like a very real life, like almost like behind the scenes type deal. I would like them to give Shadow a little bit more personality than just, I don't like you because you're not like me. You know, because then it's a little weird.
You know
and
something?
I just don't like. Oh no, I keep cutting you off. I just don't like Shadow's current voice. I just think the whispery angle to it just kind of makes him come off like he's a villain. Obviously, like David Humphrey had a very more like younger sounding thing, and then with Jason Griffith, he was playing a lot of Shadow stories where Shadow actually could be a villain. Like, it was kind of in those in between things of, like, you know, the Shadow the Hedgehog game, and then in 06, he's a lot more gruff or wwhatever, and he's going after Mephiles. But in these kind of situations where he's like talking to Tails, he's like, Tails, I don't really like Sonic. It's like, I can't take this seriously. Like,
That's pretty good.
Fundamentally, it's kind of like not good.
So, actually, that brings me to a point about Kirk, because I've noticed every time we get a Kirk performance nowadays, people are like, oh, he's finally got the hang of it. And they've been saying that for years. And it's like, maybe it's time some of you folks just need to admit that you like Kirk Thornton as Shadow. Because every time. It happened when the Lego thing came about, and when I heard his performance in the Lego thing, I thought it was fine for what it was, but I wasn't thinking that's my ideal Shadow, him being like, I ride a motorcycle! Like, Shadow's not a shouty guy as far as I'm concerned, but like, it's just so interesting how it's like, every time there is a new thing with Thornton as Shadow, people are like, oh, he's finally got the hang of it. If you ask me, Sonic Forces is the best demonstration of Kirk Thornton as Shadow. Like, I don't adore the version of Kirk's Shadow that's like, Tails, I don't really like Sonic either. Like, I prefer the one in Forces where he's a bit more soft-spoken and a bit more Griffithy. I actually think Kirk Thornton's Shadow performance in Forces is one of the best Shadow performances. And that's also partially based off of episode Shadow, because let's face it, he gets dick all to do in the main story. But like, yeah, the writing sucks, but I think Thornton's performance definitely improved it. But another thing kind of worth noting then is that people have been kind of dismissing Ian Flynn's comments because I don't know how to pronounce this, so I apologize in advance, but I think it's Itaro Toyota, who is one of the Japanese Sonic writers, was asked about this too and said, no, this is just a parody for a funny internet video. Shadow's
yeah, like
direction
they might not be on the same page for some reason.
Well, there's that,
like
but
that drama that was going on with Kishimoto, where it was like he looked at the script and was like, those like Westerners are like dumb, so this will work for them. But like,
yeah, and I was just thinking, Kishimoto, mate, maybe Ian Flynn wouldn't need to write the shit out of this if you had the characters moving. That might also help matters. But getting back to Toyota and Flynn, I think it's worth noting that I think both of these guys could be right for their respective countries. Maybe this is not how they're treating Shadow in the Japanese material, but for localization's sake, this is how Shadow is going to be now. And
both could be true. Yeah.
And it's also the thing that makes it sad to me is kind of the thing that makes it okay for you is like you're like, I've at least got Archie Shadow. I would be so much more okay with all of this if we had Archie in the fray now, but we don't. And I was actually chatting with Nick last night about like the current direction of the IDW comics and how they are just treated as supplementary material to the games, the in-between stuff, so they can't do anything too massive now.
It's the filler of Sonic.
Yeah, IDW Sonic is now basically Sonic filler. And something I've been kind of saying is like we tend to kind of say, well, there tends to be a sentiment that like Sonic storytelling was kind of at its worst in the 2010s. The thing with the 2010s is up until 2017 at least, we had alternatives to Sega's very vetted version of Sonic. You could have the Sonic Boom cartoon, where you'd get a different take and you've always got that alternative. You had the Archie comics, so you've always got that alternative. And then in the 2000s, we just had some good Sonic media. But let's look at the Sonic storytelling now. It's all Sega's way. It's all the mandated, very vetted version of yeah, also Dylan, you're getting a lot of noise coming in on your background. You're getting a lot of background audio.
That's weird. What does it sound like?
It sounds like someone's blowing a fan at the microphone.
Oh, yeah,
It's
that's
okay,
probably my fan.
Yeah, it's over now. But yeah.
How about now?
Now, yeah, it's all good. Now, our alternatives are, at best, Sonic Prime, which I don't really accept that as much of an alternative.
And it's over.
Or the Paramount universe. And, well, I don't know what to say about that anymore. So, I actually think we're in kind of a worse spot than we actually were in the 2010s. Because at least in the 2010s, there was Archie and Boom available to us. We don't have that now. We don't have that experimental dumping ground that isn't playing it safe anymore. And it's like, I think Paramount and Sega Sonic both share the same issue right now. Both of them spin their wheels in favor of playing it safe. Maybe Sonic 3 will come out and change that, and I'm hoping it will. But right now, it feels like they're both just spinning their wheels. I do not think, in spite of this whole newfound focus on story and lore that the games have, I don't think we're any further ahead than we were during the Pontac and Graf era. Because, like, so we've said, oh, it's all on one world now. The two-world theory's dead in the water. But we've done nothing with that. We've done nothing with that premise. We didn't see any humans in Sonic Frontiers. We didn't see any humans in Sonic Dream Team. And admittedly, those aren't the games to really do that anyway. I think it's the kind of thing where if we are going to see anything come from that, it's going to be in the next few years. But right now, we haven't seen anything to suggest that in the actual media.
Well, it's one. Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. We had the one about the Master Emerald with Knuckles, and there was no clarification as to whether other characters can go super. There was nothing to mention, do hyperforms still matter? So it's one of those things where, again, it's like the illusion of progress. I think the only difference we have now between now and the 2010s is that we now have a writer who treats these characters with as much reverence as he can from within that little cage Sega put him in. Ian Flynn is someone who clearly loves and adores these characters, takes them as seriously as he can, but the guy's got a fucking chain around his neck and a big giant metal ball attached to his feet.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to phrase it, I think.
Well, and like, so I've always, I think JebTube or JebZone, you had him on here. In his video, he put it best, where he talked about how, like, with Frontiers, one of the things people really liked about that game is that there's all these, like, not the references specifically of like, oh, this looks like this or that, but like they liked the general idea that like Sonic characters are referring to previous things, or like when Sonic's walking around, he might say like, oh, Tangle exists, or or oh, the Babylon Rogue. So it's like, oh, Sonic Riders is canon,
Sticks.
and all those, and all those kinds of things.
But are we gonna see it?
But are we actually gonna see it? And then like the way he put it was like he's like, why would I be excited about this? Am I a Sonic fan who's a wiki contributor? Like, am I gonna is this just good for me because I can update the wiki and say, oh, this is canon now? What I always wonder with those fans is like, what do you get out of hearing that Jet the Hawk is canon? You get nothing. Like you don't actually get anything, and I can pretty much guarantee you he's not coming back outside of the comics. They're not going to put Jet in a game. So like to me, like Frontier is what made me more on the negative side of things for especially its story is just it just feels so disingenuous. Whether even and not even like in terms of like Flynn's writing is disingenuous. I'm sure
It's all the illusion of progress. It's all the illusion that this stuff actually matters when ultimately it's just window dressing, effectively.
Well, let's think of it this way. Humans were supposedly back, but then there's a recent, not pretty recent, it was last year. There was a story where Sonic and Blaze went to Spagonia. Whoa, Spagonia! And curiously, Spagonia, nobody lives there, I guess. Well, you know what? Maybe like they were just running across the hill, the tops of the buildings, and maybe when they showed Sonic and Blaze and what they'd been doing that day, and they were at like a bar or whatever, and they were walking around town, and she saw a dress. Maybe like you just couldn't see the human. It's because humans don't actually exist, even though Sega says they exist. They have yet to actually like ferment in any meaningful way, and so
They've all been wiped out.
Yeah.
It takes me back to a really early episode back when Gilly was a regular host on the show, and he said something to the account of like we were talking about Dream Team at the time. It was like, yeah, we got Sega Sega Hardlight who are making amazing Sonic games, and then we got Sega Gaslight, which is it was like then we got Sega Gaslight, which is everything else. Like, and it is starting to feel that way. To be completely fair, I do think this is the kind of thing that, Frontiers could be just kind of laying down the groundwork for that, and then maybe next game or the game after, we might see some of those things come in. But until that time is here, I'm going to be trepidatious. And the thing is as well, with the open zone format, I think you are ripe with opportunities to bring these characters in. Even Jet. It doesn't have to be a Rider spin-off, but like, imagine you're in the open zone in the next game, cool urban city and stuff, and one of the NPCs is just Jet standing there with his board, and he's like, ha, bet you can't beat me in this competition, and then you have like a points rush thing with a skateboarding minigame, and then once you've got that, he gives you a collectible. And that could just be his place in the game. Kind of like a Yakuza kind of sub-story kind of thing. Maybe on every single one of these open zones, Jet the Hawk is hidden around somewhere, and you go talk to his NPC, and you're brought into a skateboarding game with the extreme gear. I've even thought you could do the same with Tails, where he's like, oh, hey, you want to hop on the tornado and see how many points we can get? And then that takes you into an Ikaruga top-down shooter minigame, which is completely optional, and stuff like that. That kind of stuff to populate those open zones with would be insane.
You need to let that go. You need to let the Ikaruga minigame go.
But I like it, kind of.
You mention that every time we talk, at least one time.
Listen to me. It's the fact that when I first played Sonic Frontiers, I was just so bummed out by the final boss. And I was just like, the thing is, though, this would make a great blueprint for tornado stages. These would be the best tornado stages we've ever had. Like, I've never been big on the tornado stages. Not even the Sonic Adventure ones I thought were really all that good. They're very passive gameplay. Just incredibly passive gameplay style. So...
I mean, do you guys remember back in Sonic, when Sonic Colors was out, and people were talking about how... Because I remember this. The discourse was, oh, the reason, like, yeah, like, sure, we don't have, like, Tails or Knuckles in this game, but clearly they're going to use the Wisps as alternative gameplay styles when they do introduce them. So, like, the Drill Wisp, oh, that's probably going to be, like, a Knuckles thing, where, like, you can call upon Knuckles and drill through the ground. Or, like, the Hover Wisp might be, like, something where you can become, like, Tails or whatever, and it's like, it went nowhere.
Yeah, groundwork, man. But I'm also... Sorry, go on.
Real quick, to give an example of what I mean, though, of something that Frontiers could have done to actually like give value to the callbacks is, so all those points where they're like, oh, the Deadly Sixes trap or Neo Metal, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever they say those things, they show cutscenes from the video games, right? And one of the big things with Sonic is that it's constantly changing art style and direction, and that used to be like a really cool thing because a lot of these games were just their own little universes. That was the understanding we kind of had. But now it's all connected. So when you show me like Lost World or you show me like 16-bit Sonic, it doesn't actually give the effect they want, which is that this is all connected. So instead, what they should have done, and this would have given value to the player, is when they say the Deadly Six or Neo Metal, hire Evan Stanley or
To draw
Tracy
them.
Yard to
Yeah.
draw.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, to draw a gorgeous spread that just like appears on the screen for 5 seconds, and then whenever people are playing it, they can screen cap it, and there you go. You've got a free wallpaper, and like that would be awesome. That would be a new recontextualization of old material, being like, no, this did matter. Here is a new version of that, and we are saying that this is all connected.
Can
It's
I also
also
just say,
why-
like, sorry, go on.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, like, I feel like whatever you're going to say is going to be more valuable for now.
Well, keep getting to it. So one of my favorite games is Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, and the reason
Oh, it's a good one.
Ah,
good
dude,
game.
I
Oh.
can't play that game. I get too distracted and start jacking off.
well, the reason
Well-
why is because in that game they have these incredible like character anime portraits for all the characters.
Hell
And
yeah, they
not only
do.
just like one one design. They have like multiple ones for different emotions, different feelings. And I just think guys that just completely scrap the like 3D animated cutscenes that they're doing. You know what the best looking Sonic game is still to this day? Sonic and the Black Knight, because it is stylized, cool anime like awesomeness, and they have like the storybook aesthetic and like the different like grittiness on the screen. Just cut all the 3D crap until you can get like $1 billion and actually make it look good, which I still don't trust them on. And then just literally hire someone on Twitter to draw 20 portraits for each of the characters. They can bang it out in like a day because people are just talented and can do that. And then put it in the game. So just when Sonic and Amy are talking, instead of them standing there like in the T-posing or whatever and like barely emoting and barely moving their eyebrows and their eyelashes or their everything, just draw it. Just draw cool little character mod.
I mean, I said, I think back when Jeb was actually on, I said, people clown on the cutscene in Chaos Island where it shows the flashback because they say, what, did the budget run out here? It's the best looking cutscene in the fucking game, though, because it's actually illustrated and there's actual visual composition going on here. I completely agree. I personally think what would be the sickest thing ever would be if the event status cutscenes in a Sonic game were handled by Powerhouse Animation with that nice anime style. And then, if you really can't animate for shit, or don't have the budget for it, yeah, get Evan Stanley, Tracy Yardley, Adam Bryce Thomas, or whoever to do text box kind of cutscenes, because, yeah, that will look better than them just standing there not even moving their lips. Unless you really want to run with the joke and have them T-pose. Have them switch back to the Dreamcast Adventure models for no reason. That would actually be kind of funny, because then it would be like an acknowledgement that we're just dicking around. Like, if Sega wanted to start making these games purely for shithousery purposes, then, you know what, I'll embrace it. If you want to just take the piss out of how low your budget is, yeah, okay, go ahead. Knuckles Episode 4 did that, and those were the best scenes in the show.
Well, and unfortunately, I think... Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, so this is what I was going to say earlier when I said what you have to say is more valuable than what I have to say, but Tracy Yardley is an incredible artist, but that is one unfortunate name for an artist. Tracy.
Because he'll get mistaken from Tracy from Pokemon Orange Island?
No. Just think about it.
Tracy actually does
Just
draw in
Tracy.
that show as well.
Just think about it. Tracy.
I mean, even
Because
worse...
people, when you trace
name.
things, it's bad. That's what he's saying.
Well,
Butch
even
Hartman.
better, we have Spaz, and I don't even think you can say that word anymore, but that's just his name.
You're not supposed to say it in the UK, because in the UK it refers to, like, cerebral palsy. But, like,
Well, there.
from what I've heard in America, this was something apparently, like, Nick had some confusion going on with in, like, his Discord server, where, like, I think someone mentioned Patrick Spaziante, but referred to him by his nickname, and people were like, "Oh, bro, you can't say that." And
Can't say that.
it's so interesting, just kind of like what isn't a slur in other countries and what
Language
is
is fun.
language is very fun.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, I mean that's basically all I have to say about Frontiers and all that kind of stuff. Did we want to move on to the main topic?
Well, yeah, it's just kind of, back to kind of what I was getting at. It's just, it bums me out that there's no alternative now. It's what Sega feeds you, or it's what Paramount feeds you, and both of which seem quite afraid of their IPs. Like,
Yeah, I would say so. Well, and I would say that also. I think one of the sad parts about being a Sonic fan is that now with just games in general being more expensive, like how many years did we wait between Forces and Frontiers?
5.
Yeah, so now let's say that they speed that up and it takes 3 years this time or 2. Well, again, like you said, we don't really have that we don't really have the unique media in between to or just like all the spin-offs we used to have. And so it just kind of feels like, oh, like you're just waiting forever, praying that this is good.
I mean, I actually think they've paced themselves quite differently this time, because I think while Sonic Team are working on the new game, which is confirmed that, they're in development. I think Kishimoto even said that they began kind of basic development after Frontiers was released. Izuka certainly hinted at it as well. They had a very small skeleton team work on Final Horizon, so that gave us something for that year. We also had Superstars that year. We also had Dream Team. We've got Sonic X Shadow Generations coming this year. Like, if Sonic Team are still just working on that next main game, it will probably be out before we know it. And we have been kind of fed with things from different teams. If it was the kind of thing where it's like,
right.
While Sonic Team works away on the next open zone game, we get stuff from Hardlight or Arzest. I'd rather have Evening Star, but if we're getting, that, then we're fed at the very least. And I think, we've been getting consecutive game content when it comes to Sonic. And we're even getting that Fall Guys Toy Story thing. So that's also on the new horizons.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
me
then
too.
what I really want to ask then is, are you guys content with the fact of a lot of the Sonic content that we have been getting? It kind of just seems to be playing it. I mean, I would assume not, but a lot of it is just kind of playing it safe, and not just in the safe of being a simple idea. But a lot of the discourse I see is less about oh, I can't wait for this innovative new direction. It's more so, okay, are they gonna keep the status quo? Are they gonna get the character right? When instead I would just more like it if instead with each game it was, what new direction are they gonna take the characters? Are they gonna try something new with the characters instead of, okay, please cross our fingers, please just don't be garbage, just be passable, please just be right.
I think my thing now is, because I know that when there was talk of a Heroes remake, my main thought was, I want to move forward with Open Zone and see what happens next with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think Sonic Frontiers laid down such good groundwork. I enjoyed that game so much. As much as I clown on it being a beta test, which it is. It is. Kishimoto has admitted to it. Everyone's admitted. This never made it out of beta. This was just a continuous pipeline of just adding things based on feedback. It is still one of the most fun games I've ever played. And I want more of that, but I want to see what that can be when they finally have a proper vision. Now that they know what to do, I just want to see what that is. And I want that much more than I want a big new direction, at least in the gameplay capacity. I would rather not for now. I'd rather just sit on the gameplay that we have now, but see ambition come from other places.
Yeah, I guess I mean more towards the character writing and the stories.
Oh, then in that case, yeah.
I wasn't clear, my bad.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, to be fair, Frontiers did give us a dose of that. It gave us our most dour Sonic game yet. And I appreciated that, to be fair. There's something to be said about the fact that we got Sonic, this lovable animal Scrimblow Bimblow, the lovable Scrunkle, coming in and giving us a game about death. That's kind of beautiful. Even if the execution is hilarious, it's still kind of beautiful that they just went there,
Yeah, that's what I because I know a lot of people, for example, really love Unleashed. But the reason and this is probably just why even though I grew up with the games first and foremost for most of my life, the reason I probably because I always loved the games. I love the gameplay, but I never fell in love with the stories or the characters like so many other Sonic fans have. I played SA2, I played Sonic Adventure, I played Heroes, I played Shadow, I played every game. And when Sonic 06 was coming out, I was saving all my money, I wanted to play that, but I never ever connected with any of the characters. I never cared about them. They were just my avatars to play the game. And I think the reason for that has always been that where I just often find I can't get past the execution, like Sonic Unleashed. That's one so many people love. But whenever I think of the idea of like Sonic and Chip, right? I think, okay, what are Sonic and Chip's cutscenes? All right, so like he lands on him. They have like a cute little interaction there. He names him Chip. That's pretty good.
They make out a little.
And then they have
No, that didn't happen.
So
That's in the director's cut.
son of a bitch. All right, so we got Dylan, who's a Sonic Unleashed hater. We have Frank, a part-time member, who's a Sonic Unleashed hater. We got you, Ian, a fucking Sonic Unleashed hater. Am I the only one who likes Sonic Unleashed?
That means it was just made for your heart. You know, it's for you.
No, it does have something to do with being the first Sonic game I played since Sonic 2 when I was a kid. But, like, man,
I mean,
the gameplay...
I'll ask you, what are your favorite moments for Sonic and Chip? What endears you to that relationship? Like, is there a moment or a scene or like an idea that kind of permeates throughout the story? Because a lot of times, like one of my favorite games is Kingdom Hearts, and in the first game, Sora, the main character, actually rarely talks to a lot of the characters in that game in cutscene, but through gameplay, with them palling around with you and fighting monsters and like giving you items and calling your name, you grow this attachment to them because you have to explore with them and you have this tangible aspect to it that is a video game. So is there maybe something like that with Sonic Unleashed? And I think this is probably what a lot of people it is. Like there's a tangibility to it where you feel that connection to Chip because you are going on this grand adventure, even if like maybe in the cutscenes
he's really there.
Talk that much.
Yeah, I tell you what.
Yeah,
I
agree with you again, Ian. Like I think in Kingdom Hearts there are a lot of times where it's like we're in Beauty and the Beast, and then Beast is just there.
I'll answer.
It's like this is so cool. Wow.
I'll answer your question, though, Ian. For me, kind of what locks Unleashed in is that I think the dynamic between Sonic and Chip feels a lot more like the dynamic that Sonic and Tails used to have, where it's like the older brother dynamic. And it's partly down to the fact that in the opening cutscene, we've got Sonic being the little shithouser that he is, showing remorse, Eggman, I'm gonna have to break all your toys, motherfucker. But then... once he gets down to Earth and he meets Chip, he takes things pretty seriously, and he takes Chip's whole plight quite seriously. And in the middle of this event where the Earth has been split into different pieces, he is still taking the time to help Chip, someone who just simply doesn't have his memory working and stuff like that. And then the other bits that kind of make it work for me I for starters, I like little moments like Chip going to offer the Gaia Phoenix chocolate, but bashing into Werehog's head and just flicks him aside like he's a little bitch. And my favorite moment, probably my favorite like friendship cutscene in Sonic, is when Sonic and Chip are on the boardwalk at Adabat, and Chip has just found out who he is, and he kind of talks about like how thankful he is for Sonic for excuse me, showing him the world, showing him just how kind people can be. It's a moment where the two just kind of reflect on the events of the game, and like he just talks about the strength that's in Sonic's heart. And then when Chip is like, all right, well, since I know that I'm Light Guy, I'm going to go off and do my thing. You just hang back, Sonic, because this isn't your responsibility. Sonic is just like, do I need a reason to help out a friend?
Do I need a reason to help a friend?
Yeah, and I'm just like, that stuff there,
so cool.
That stuff there is great. That stuff speaks to Sonic's character so well, it speaks to Chip's character so well, and it's nice to see Chip, who has otherwise been kind of a cartoon stereotype, cartoon sound effects running around, oh, I'm so hungry, fucker. Like, it's nice to kind of see him in a moment of being a little sobered up. And what compounds this even more is, this is a fucking running gag now, having a shop in a Sonic game. Listen to me, alright? Hear me out. I like feeding Chip more than I like grinding for EXP. I like going to Holoska, getting the most disgusting fish that I can find and feeding it to him, and seeing him go, Blair, this is fucking disgusting. And then he'll make a little comment about Sonic. So, it's that
Sonic,
makes...
why did you feed me this disgusting raw fish?
But it's that kind of stuff.
That'd be funny.
It's that kind of stuff that sets Unleashed apart from other Boost games, because I fully admit that Sonic Generations does Boost Formula gameplay better. And I fully admit that there are much more consistent games. I fully admit that the Werehog doesn't truthfully belong there, even though I do enjoy it. But with Sonic Unleashed, both in its story and in its gameplay, we are given numerous opportunities to just stop and reflect on things a little bit. Soak in the scenery.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
the hub worlds, it's the shops,
yeah, the hub
it's
worlds,
the
you have-
NPCs,
yeah, the
it's Chip.
levels.
Yeah, and that makes it all the more meaningful. It's why places like Adabat and Holoska mean more to me than Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant, is because we know what these places actually are, you know?
Yeah. Well, no, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I wanted to so for you, it's it's kind of the really powerful premise, because you can sell a lot on premise. So the really powerful premise of what their relationship even means for both characters. And then two, the general vibe of just like you said, actually engaging with the world. I know there's a lot of people who really love Sonic Adventure because they really engage with the characters, the NPCs, and they check up on them
Completely.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've never engaged with those side activities because I just wasn't invested in that premise. But for you, you have a strong basis. You have that pier scene, which I was going to bring up as well, which is that's the really good one. And then obviously you have the finale where he sacrifices himself for Sonic, and you kind of come to this full circle moment where he's like, Chip. You understand that Chip is kind of in a weird way, he sort of was the adventure because he is the planet. So anytime you play another Sonic game, you kind of have this idea, like he says, he's I will be the ground you run on or whatever, the ground you tread. And so
even down to him getting the light bracelet thing as well, and that being Chip's collar.
He gets a little memento.
I wish he'd kept it.
Sonic
I wish he'd
taking
kept
it off
it
and never using it again.
If they made that so that was an available cosmetic for Sonic Frontiers, imagine having that and having the soap shoes. It would be an 11 out of 10.
To be
Fuck the
fair,
popper.
a lot of people put that in mods, which I find
Yeah,
nice.
I've noticed, and yeah, I played Generations with the little Chip Gaia strip on a lot. In fact, there's a mod that actually mods in Chip running with you, like he does in Unleashed.
Oh
and
yeah,
I've
seen that.
You know what would have been perfect is if in Rooftop Run and just for that one level, Chip is just alongside you.
Yeah,
Aw.
that'd be awesome.
But then Sonic would be so sad. He'd be like, I remember when you died.
That would also require for Sonic Generations to have actually given a shit about Sonic's history and its story, so there you go.
Yeah, well, and here's what I'll say to that is that I think that kind of response you gave, that is the kind of thing I would just more so encourage people to express when they talk about what they like or don't like in
Sonic
any
Unleashed
story.
is peak.
Because what I often find is that, especially in the Sonic fan base, we have so many cyclical conversations about what is correct for Sonic, when I don't care about any of that. Just tell me, what do you like and what do you dislike that goes beyond just like when people talk about how should Amy be, or is this character development, or is this regression, instead of talking about any of that nonsense, just tell me why you like it and why it connects with you, because that's what's the most valuable, is how it connects to you as a person and then how you relate that to the character. Because otherwise, the franchise is always just going to go in whatever direction it wants. I think Ian Flynn even went on Reddit and he had this little thing where he talked about he talked about the Sonic canon, and what he says kind of by the end is he's like, guys, the Sonic canon's always changing. Back in the 90s, you had 3 different ones. Back in the 2000s, it was kind of they were doing that thing, and then now the canon has changed to this. And he basically said the canon's going to change again eventually. That's just how this works. It's a product. They're going to change with the times. They're going to change with what people want. And so if you're not in on it, at this point in time, stick around a little longer. It'll probably change again. That's just kind of how it goes. And so I just always want to hear those stories of why do people love something or dislike something? Because when we just get caught in this circle of just no, Sonic should, if someone were to say Sonic shouldn't be the werehog, well, that's a useless conversation because he is the werehog in Sonic Unleashed. So instead of piddling our feet about whether that was proper to exist, it does exist. Let's talk about if it was good or bad.
I'm being really quiet right now because I'm working on a masterpiece. I
He's
apologize.
not giving
again.
us his undivided attention.
I know, because I'm trying to. I said I was going to make something, and I didn't have time before the show started. But I'm telling you right now, this is coming out really good, and I think it's going to bust a gut.
Hey,
so
Ian, don't
please
you wish,
look forward to it.
Don't you wish Dylan was a good friend?
But
I wish
yeah,
Dylan was a good
I
friend.
do.
Well, thanks for letting me rant so much to fill in the time.
I wish.
No,
Dylan
this
was
is
a good
perfect because
friend.
you have a
I
lot
wish
to
Dylan
say,
was
and
a
I
good
don't have
friend.
anything to say right
I
now.
wish Dylan was
Aside
a good
from the
friend.
fact that Pup, shut your mouth. So, what I can contribute, I can take a second for this. When I make fun of Sonic stuff a lot, and my it usually boils down to just being I don't like this. But I do have a lot of reasons for not liking certain things. I don't just blindly hate Unleashed. I could tell you plenty of reasons why I don't like what's going on. I do like the story. I do think Sonic and Chip work really well together. I think everything you're saying about, oh, I'll be the world that you run on, and it's like, that's so cute. That's so adorable. Like, I love that. That's so sweet. But then in the next game, immediately, it was Colors, right? So they were, or no. Sorry, it was Colors, right? So then in the next game, they were like, wow, the amusement park. Oh my goodness, guy. Like, okay. All right, cool, thanks. Like, that didn't mean a goddamn thing. You're not even running on that ground that he paved for you, you bastard. So, like, my thing is, it's hard to care about individual things sometimes when that reset is coming, when that like impending reset might happen. That's why I'm really happy with Frontiers and how it's rebooting into like a better place, you know, like a more solid foundation. Because now it's like there's potential again for like actual stories and actual emotions. So I am very happy with that. And yeah, the werehog sucks though.
Dylan, are you seeing what is going on in the chat?
No, I'm not looking at the chat right now.
Look at the chat real quick. Just look at the chat real quick.
Okay. Are they excited for my peak fiction I'm creating?
It's not so much that. It's that they've betrayed me and it's in your honor.
Oh, hell yeah. These are my people! Alright, hold on. The chat's loading. I need to see my people. Anytime now, YouTube. Load up the live chat. Come on. It'll be funny.
But yeah, no, Sonic Unleashed, all those. I'm trying to think, what is my favorite Sonic game? I think I may have mentioned this. Oh yeah, I guess my favorite's probably just Mania. I just think it's super fun.
That is such a basic bitch answer.
Absolutely. Well, I don't. Well, my niche Sonic opinion is that Archie Sonic is the best Sonic, so I don't have any like unique.
That is not a basic bitch answer.
Better than all the rest, as one of your thumbnails says.
Yes, and that really worked for people. That got people to click.
When I see it, I imagine Sonic set. It's been in my watch list, not because like I just haven't watched it yet, because it's been in my watch later for like a while, because I'm terrible at watching things. But every time I see it, I'm just like, oh yeah, better than all the rest.
I think he even on the thing he says like, prove it, tough guy, because it's like, all right, Ian, like, prove it. You made the video, then tell me why.
Oh, okay, I've seen the chat now. Sorry. Dylan moment. Dylan.
No, scroll up to where I was saying
Dylan.
stuff.
I'm glad Dylan is a good friend. I wish Dylan was a great host. Wait, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on there. I like this one down here. I wish Dylan was my boyfriend.
Oh, Dylan, you might have found yourself a new hole.
No, that's okay. I appreciate that comment, though. Thank you.
No hole for Dylan.
Anyway, sorry, Ian, you were saying?
I wasn't saying
people holes again.
What's next on the docket to talk about?
Well, yeah. So on the docket, we've got the main meat discussion, and it is about how Knuckles has been a big success for Paramount Plus. Before we get into that, I do want to say that spoilers are allowed on today's episode because it has now been a week.
Cool.
Ian, have you seen it?
I have seen it.
What do you think?
This will now be my third podcast talking about it. So basically, what I think it is it's really, really bad, and I kind of like it a lot.
Okay, okay. So
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is the trouble. I agree with that again. Like, because the trouble is, I enjoyed some parts of it. Like, I enjoyed watching it for the most part. Okay, and now everyone in the chat's gonna be like, "We hate Dylan." But like, I also agree that it's a terrible Sonic show. Like very much like movie 1 was a movie with Sonic in it. This is not a Knuckles show. This is a show with Knuckles in it, and they've sort of regressed back before Sonic Movie 2, like all of the improvements they've made. So I get why people hate it. I don't think it is my least favorite thing to ever exist, but I think that it could have tried harder to be a Knuckles show. And that's mainly how I'm saying.
I have rewatched it since last week's episode, the whole way through, because...
Sorry.
my housemate Dom wanted to kind of see it out of curiosity, and I wasn't gonna let him do it alone. And I saw it as an opportunity to hang out, and I like my friends. But
That's good that you like your friends.
my opinions of this thing, I still really don't like this show at all. I think episode 1 and 2 are fine. 2 actually has some really solid moments. I would say 2 on a whole is good. Hit and miss in parts, but good. Episode 3 I don't like. Episode 4, I realize that the musical numbers only actually take up 5 minutes of that episode, so I don't know if I can call that the best episode because of that. But I did really like the music video, the musical numbers, and I can safely say that that is something that we haven't really gotten with other Sonic media, and if we were getting another kind of show...
Sonic Underground. Sonic Underground.
That's not what I mean, though. I mean, like... It's not just that they're singing, because I don't even care for musicals. I would rather not see Sonic and Friends sing. But having, like, dudes running around in costumes of the characters and telling that story and having a big homemade Iblis there is something that we were very unlikely to ever get, and I am grateful that we have that. Like, that is something I am tremendously grateful. And the song is good. The song's actually really good.
It's pretty funny that when I was watching it, I was like, this feels like something like a YouTuber would make. Like you would see it on like Sonic in real life. And then apparently, I think someone correct me on this, I might be getting the band wrong, but did someone from The Lonely Island work on that?
Yeah,
is that what I heard on
from
Twitter?
The Lonely Island directed that scene.
'Cause that's fucking badass, dude.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff I like is just when they're getting very artistic with the Knuckles stuff. For me, the bit that compounds it as a bad show, because episode 3 I really don't like, but the bit that compounds it as a bad show, in my opinion, is the last 2 episodes. I find them to be the worst. Like, because it really just has nothing to do with Sonic at that point. But, I'm going to say this. As a show that isn't a Sonic show, does it work? I'm going to say this, like, because there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, it's fine as a show, it's just not good as a Sonic show. I don't...
Okay.
Please don't take this as a personal insult when I say this, but I do have a film recommendation for you. Paul Blart Mall Cop. Watch Paul Blart Mall Cop. You will love it. You will think it's a good movie. Watch it.
Okay.
If you like Knuckles as a non-Knuckles show, you will enjoy Paul Blart Mall Cop.
The second one too. Watch that one. Okay, so
Yeah,
here's the thing.
definitely the second one.
I love stupid, absurd nonsense. For both ways. I like it in the comedy sense, and I like it in the Kingdom Hearts sense, where it is taking it completely seriously, and then you end up doing so yourself, and you're like, "Am I stupid?" But I care. So like, and I feel like the Knuckles show leans so far into the Paul Blart Mall Cop like dumb nonsense angle, and I just like what I think I love about the show is the show itself just has the gall to exist the way it does. Like it does not ever flinch. It does not ever like demean itself. Like the scene where like but Wade is talking to his mom, and they're having a very real conversation about like dealing with like a loved one who has hurt both of you, and the idea of like, well, you don't want to have this relationship with dad, but I'm still trying to figure out my relationship with dad. But I understand if you don't want to be in his life, but I might want to be in his life. And it's like, well, he may want you in his life now, but he does a good job at like, and I'm like, this is like and I was waiting. I'm like, where's the punchline? Where's the part where like Knuckles walks by with like a bag of Doritos and says, oh, more chips? But no,
yummy Doritos.
Yeah, Doritos. But no, the scene just plays out completely straight, and like I just love the audacity of the show. It gives me the vibes of like when people look at Archie and they're like, why are there Nazi echidnas? And I go, I know, right? Like, why is this happening?
I was talking.
That was the scene. That was the scene where I was like, because I was fooled a little bit because when Wade's father shows up and they just have a genuine connection and heart to heart, I was like, holy shit, wait, why is this so wholesome and like nice? And then they had that conversation, I was like, this is an extremely adult way to tackle this, and also he is immediately going to pull a fast one and become a villain like instantly. I was like, okay, well there goes the surprise.
I've been talking at length about this with Game Apologies. We were talking a lot last night about the show. And I kind of said, I think that Wade's mum is the best character that isn't Knuckles or Sonic or Tails in the show. Like, of the non-Sonic cast in this show, Wade's mum's the best character because I think they did handle her kind of struggle with a great deal of maturity. It's like, oh, dude, I hated the mum. I said, no. Here's the thing. If I accept this for what it is, which I don't, and I won't, no matter how many insults the internet wants to give me, I'm not going to do that. She would be the best part because that is actually, there's some emotional catharsis here. I am going to admit, I haven't really been in I haven't really experienced like family betrayal like that, but I did think Wade was a dick in the subsequent scene. Even if it wasn't played off for a joke, I did think Wade was kind of a dick. I think he worded it nicely enough, but it is just kind of like, this person did really hurt your family and isn't very sorry about it. But there's other observations I've made, because I did mention the show doesn't ruin Knuckles. The show does Knuckles well. But I have kind of... Well, I've changed my mind about that. There's a lot of out-of-character stuff for Knuckles. When Wade's sister stabbed Wade, the Knuckles I know would have jumped up on that fucking table and screamed dishonor at her. And Knuckles, if he'd heard about like what Wade's dad did, he would have been like, well, that's fucking dishonorable. And he would have fucking straight up confronted him. That's the Knuckles I know. Like,
and that's where the show completely falls flat no matter what, is that regardless of if you accept like, well, it's not a Sonic, which is a stupid premise anyway, but you know, the idea of like, oh, well, like Knuckles is here, he should have a story, obviously, and they just don't give him one. He does not grow or develop or have a parallel story to Wade. He is just kind of Wade's mentor who goes, oh, I can kind of relate to that, like slightly, and then the human characters go, yeah, me too, and then they do their story. And that's where, like you pointed out, it's like you could have had Knuckles really be engaged in Wade's life in a non-comedic way, which he has one scene with that, which is really nice, which is when they first escape the mansion. But like what you're saying, where it's like he should have been like, if you want to sell this idea of human with Sonic, and I'm supposed to relate to, you know, Wade or whoever, the human, then hey, I would want Knuckles on my side at these like family meetings or whatever, these dinners or whatever, or I would want him to like, wouldn't it be cool if like Knuckles stood up to my deadbeat dad, you know? That would be kind of like inspirational if you're a kid watching this. It's like, whoa, Knuckles, like, he's taking out the bad guy, you know? And it's like
your sister could literally stab you and Knuckles would sit there doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's the idea of like, they just kind of, the biggest problem with the show is they just kind of write them out, you know? And so that's where like, I think the conversation is, it feels disingenuous when people are like, well, you know, what did you expect, guys? Like, it couldn't have just been about Knuckles. Oh yeah, like it couldn't have just been like well written. Like that just wasn't gonna happen, guys.
The
like,
other thing,
you know, they couldn't have just wrote a Knuckles show. It's like, of course they could have, and they chose not to.
The other thing I hear is like, oh, why do people get so bent out of shape over a kids show? In the UK, it's a 12+. On Paramount Plus, it says 12+ as its rating. So it is not just a for babies show.
Yeah. Well, actually, this ties back into the thing I was talking about earlier, where I think the reason the show, because I really want Nick to make his video. I hope he still does, because I think he has a really a point of view that I think will be really valuable. Is that, and I think Sam of the Procrastinators, like whenever he was talking about it, it's like what the kind of the problem with a lot of Sonic material is that we are just waiting for our favorite characters to finally get their shine, right? And with Knuckles, one of the big problems with him is that in IDW, he's very limited, so we don't really get him a lot in there. And then he did finally come into his own in the movie, but he was mostly a villain for that. So hey, now finally we've gone through the, you know, it's the origin story thing, right? The origin story of like, can't we just have a Spider-Man movie where he's just Spider-Man, stop doing endless, you know, retellings of his thing, or Batman, you know, let's just tell a story with Batman. So with this, we finally have Knuckles, right? And people have waited so long, people who really cherish this character, like Game Apologist or Sam Procrastinator and all that stuff. And so I think I think people are really like missing the idea when people get really upset about this, because you're not going to get another Knuckles show, at least not for a long time. So if like this is like a really long time, and if we do, it's going to be more like this, obviously. So when people get really upset about like this not being about Knuckles, that makes perfect sense, because this is the only Knuckles show, right? And so like they, and instead of giving you that, you're a fan, you really love these characters. The movies have shown that they have some amount of respect for your time and your love for these characters. And so when you come into this and the show just like kind of just almost insults you basically for watching it and caring, even if I think it's funny, because again, I have Archie Knuckles, I have a completely satisfying story with that
Did you
character.
really think we'd make a TV show for Knuckles?
Yeah,
Come
exactly.
on now, is kind of the sentiment.
Yeah, it has that vibe to it. And it makes sense why people are upset. That's it. That was the chance to make a Knuckles show, and they chose not to. And people have the right to be upset about that. That's it. That's all we're getting, you know. And if we get more, it's just going to be more of the same, which ties into the idea that these did really well. I don't think Paramount really is going to listen to the fans all that much. The most they might do is if they make another show, maybe it's about Knuckles or Tails or Shadow or whatever, they just might put a little bit more time into the characters or whatever. But for the most part, what they got was what they wanted, which is that families will sit down and watch this. Sonic fans will watch this. They'll enjoy it too. Like it's doing really well for the most part, outside of the minority, I would say, of people who really dislike it. And so I think they're just going to be like, yeah, pair Sonic characters up with humans, tell a human story, and the Sonic character is like the cute little fun mascot who gets to hang out with you, the viewer, because you are Wade Whipple, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's just one of those things.
Also,
where...
if you,
Yeah,
the viewer, are Wade Whipple, if Wade Whipple is the audience surrogate, we should feel really insulted
gosh.
by that.
Yeah,
It's
that
something
made
I
me-
said to
I don't
Nick.
want to be the.
Was something I said to Nick was like, look at Wade for a second. He's wearing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. He's got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all over his bedroom. He's got a dinosaur toy. I said, Nick, this is you as written by someone who thinks you are a worthless piece of shit.
Who hates you? Yeah.
This is you as written by someone who hates you.
Yeah.
And he hates Wade. And he was just like, not right now, pup. I'm upset. I was like,
I really want him to make that video because I think that's the perspective he would come at, is that he loves Knuckles. He's been with this series for a long
he's
time.
here.
Yeah.
He's in the chat.
And he wants
Hey.
he wants to love this character. And the one time he got a chance to have a Knuckles show, and he also didn't get a Knuckles comic, that's for sure. So, you know, Ken Penders did whatever he wanted with that. But yeah, and at least with the Ken Penders stuff, it was all like at least tied to more echidnas, more Mobians, all that kind of stuff. It did answer questions that you might have from the games of like, what is Angel Island? What is the role of the Guardian? You know, your mileage may vary of the answers to that. But this show just completely insults you for even caring about those questions. And it says, no, Wade Whipple. And I want to present to you a nightmare scenario that is going to happen. And it's going to be very funny, which is that, so we are now developing a new generation of Sonic fans who 10 years from now or whatever, or however many years when they become YouTubers, they are going to make like tier lists and analysis videos where Wade Whipple and Tom Wachowski are up in S tier with like Sonic and Shadow, and they're just Sonic characters to them. They're not going to be like the movie Sonic characters. No, to a new generation of Sonic
Wachowski
fans.
tier list.
Yeah, to a new generation of Sonic fans, Wade Whipple is as much a Sonic character as Shadow the Hedgehog, and that is going to be very, very funny.
I wanna abandon this mortal coil.
I had not thought about that, but that's
I
dude. If I
despise
see
that
Wade
idea.
in S tier, okay, Wade is funny. I'm gonna say it. Wade's funny, like most of the time. But like,
I don't think
I
just
get
think
it.
he's loud.
I get that he's not.
I just think he's loud. Is all I think of Wade. I think like that's the other thing as well, is I think I've said it before, the Sonic movies didn't make me laugh. I remember people saying the first Sonic movie's funny, and I never felt it was funny. I was like, this is not funny. You know what's funny? Sonic Boom is funny. This isn't funny. But the thing is, there wasn't as much of an insistence on comedy.
Is it me again? Did I do something?
Oh my gosh.
Are you okay?
Don't yell at me
Dylan,
again. Don't yell at me again, please.
Dylan,
Listen, I'm just saying what I think. I'm
Dylan.
sorry. Listen, it's not my fault that he wore Teenage
Dylan?
Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. Pup
Nick,
said that.
get more than a few words in there this time. Come on, the stage is yours.
Hey man, glad you showed up.
no.
I don't listen. He's not an amazing. All right,
He must be like a regular host at this point. Like
He's
last week,
Wade
this
is not.
week.
He's not an amazing character. He's not the best thing to ever happen to anything. I like stupid comedy, and Wade does stupid comedy decently. Like, that was enough stupid comedy for me to laugh. So I was like, you know what? Fine. Do I think he should be in more of it? No.
I need
don't
to
think
tell
so.
you about Reeve and Mortimer, two British comedians. They do stupid comedy. Matt Berry is like stupid comedy. For me, Wade is just loud. Like, but that's fair. I understand that humor is subjective, Murray. But like,
Cringe.
I
Wade.
think it's okay.
As I said, the previous Sonic films managed to win me over not based on the comedy. They won me over based on the adventure. Knuckles is moving full speed ahead in the comedy department, and to me, this thing is as funny as Schindler's List. Like, it's not fucking funny, in my opinion. And so it's naturally going to flop like a fish for me. Like, if your show is leaning fully into the comedic element, and it doesn't have the adventure stuff to back it up, it doesn't have the action to back it up, and that comic relief side character is the main character, it's not going to work for me. And that's why Knuckles, for me, is pretty much irredeemable, as far as I am concerned. But so I do want to talk more about the fact that this has been quite a success for Paramount Plus. Dylan, you did post an article in our Fawntight chat, didn't you? So the numbers are like,
yes,
it's
the numbers, Mason. It's
the most watched Paramount Plus original series of all time, with more than 4 million hours streamed in its premiere weekend. Now,
this is not okay. I do not endorse.
Well, hold on. Here where I'm going with this, because
no.
On one hand, Paramount Plus, as far as streaming services go and as far as their originals go, isn't a big performer. So there are some who are saying this speaks more to just how barren Paramount Plus is than it does to the quality of Knuckles or the success of Knuckles. But you know what? I'm going to take this at face value. Let's say Knuckles is a big success. I'm uncomfortable about that naturally. And again, that's not to say that anyone is wrong for enjoying it. That's not to say anyone is wrong for watching it. But as someone who loves Sonic, it takes me back to a clip where Sam procrastinates. He said this at the end of his Knuckles series video, Knuckles Deserves Better. He gets quite emotional because he's like, well, for one, he's dealt with a lot of abuse over Twitter over his opinions on this show, because Knuckles' fan base is worse than the Sonic fan base now. But he kind of says, if this is the big success, if this is what we're serving us, and we give Paramount a big thumbs up and say, more of that, please, what does that mean? Because Paramount is a business at the end of the day, and they're going to look at this low-budget thing and say, okay, this was fine, this did well, we don't need to up the ante, we don't need to increase the budget to accommodate for more Sonic stuff, we can keep moving things in this direction. And if it keeps moving in this direction, I'm telling you now, if a Knuckles Season 2 comes along and it's like Season 1, the narrative is going to shift. You guys are not going to like it this time. Because it's not this, oh wow, we got a Knuckles show now. It's now The Wade Power Hour and Knuckles, you know? My god, that's actually a better title than the real title, because it actually references the games. But it's gonna be that. And maybe they'll take that sentiment going forward. Reduce the budget on the movies. Now, I would like to think that people involved with actually making these movies will still push for them to be as good as they can be. Like Jeff Fowler and Tyson Hess and everyone that's involved are still ultimately going to want to make something good. But the big wigs at Paramount might reduce budgets a bit because they've seen that people will accept this. And that does set a worrying precedent for me. And, okay, so on Rotten Tomatoes, it is the highest rated in the Sonic movie universe. Now, bear in mind it has a lot less reviews than the other thingies, but it's currently, I believe, 75% with the first fresh score, certified fresh, of any of the Sonic movie universe. And that bugs me, because Sonic 2 is, in my opinion, the shining star of the Sonic movie universe. Oh, yeah. I love Sonic 2. They can never make me hate Sonic 2. There are things in Sonic 2 that have soured because of the Knuckles show, mind you. Constantly feeling the need to reference other movies whenever cool Sonic shit happens. Like, let this just be cool on its own terms. I don't love the Death Egg Robot because I like to Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I like the Death Egg Robot because it's cool as fuck. I don't want it to be that Shadow rocks up in Sonic 3 and Sonic goes to Tom and is like, there's a new hedgehog in town. He's like a cross between John Wick and the Punisher. I want it to be, no, that's Shadow, and Shadow's fucking cool as fuck. He doesn't need to be like John Wick.
That could be a real line in the movie.
It could
like, actually be real.
It literally could. Like,
the line
and
that my friend said that I'm afraid is going to happen is Shadow's going to tell his backstory to Sonic about Maria, and he's going to and Sonic's going to go, oh, so she's like your Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
She's just like your John Wick's dog.
Hey, buddy, has anyone ever told you are so much like John Wick? I almost feel like I should ask you for an autograph. Is like something I'd imagine Sonic saying to Shadow, like during a confrontation.
Why do you sound like Keanu Reeves? I don't know who that is.
You've had the whole, like, what you see is what you get, just a guy that loves adventure, whereas here he's gonna be like, whoa, I love John Wick, hey, dude! Like, yeah, no, like, again, I just wish there was less of an insistence on saying, hey, audience, this is cool, because, like, that other thing that you like, you don't need to do that with Sonic. He's literally one of the most recognizable IPs in the world. They sell fucking toys of Death Egg robots and Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, you don't... Jack's Pacific's sales records should show that you'll be just fucking fine if you just say, whoa, it's a Death Egg robot, that's just like the Death Egg robot, like, but, like, yeah, Sonic 2, for all it does that shit, for the lack of confidence that it does display in its IP at times, I still adore that movie, and I want more like that. I want the next movie to be an evolution of that. With Sonic 2, we were a little less timid about Sonic, so for Sonic 3, I want us to go all in. And I want subsequent installments to go all in. I don't want some Paramount exec to be like, well, hang on, guys. The Knuckles show was a big success. The fans loved it. We didn't get much pushback at all about that. So let's do more like that. And there's something that I put on Twitter, because I wanted to actually ask people, seriously now. I said, okay, it's completely okay that people like the Knuckles show. I don't hold that against anyone. As much as it baffles me, I'm not holding that against anyone. But it's like, would you be happy if they made more like this? If they dialed back on the Sonic 2s and dialed up on the Knuckleses in terms of, like, tone, in terms of content, would you be happy with that? If based on the success of this, Sonic 4 drops, and it's a lot more about the human cast, and there's less
what you want.
Sonic mythology, would you be okay with that? And it is so strange. I'm getting comments on it, like, as long as it's done well, I don't mind. I get things that say, I don't care about Sonic character screen time as long as the characters we have on screen are good. And it's like, well, at what point are we just going into a cinema and just asking for a random movie ticket for a random movie, walking out and going, yeah, that was a great Sonic movie? Like, at what point are we going to be okay with buying tickets to Sonic 3, sitting down, being shown the 7th seal, and then walking out, and at the end credits it says Sonic? Like, it still matters, I ultimately, yes, quality matters above all else, but you can't just make a good movie and call it a Sonic movie, Like, and I think, a lack of faith in an IP is still a problem, even if it isn't as quantifiable as other objective factors. Like, a lack of faith in IP does still matter. But for me, like, it doesn't depend on the execution. If I'm paying to see a Sonic movie, I would rather get a really good Sonic movie than a perfect The Seven Samurai, but it's called Sonic for some reason. I'll watch The Seven Samurai if I want The Seven Samurai. And that's bugging me.
I guess what I would say is that, again, JebTube, JebZone, he made a really good post where he talked about, like, obviously there's going to be changes, and I don't really expect it to be a direct adaptation of SA2. But what you have to understand is when you do make these changes, SA2 has a lot of really cool stuff in it. So, of course, if I go to an SA2 movie, I want to see that cool stuff in there because it's cool.
Well, people are saying, a pushback I've heard is, it's not a Sonic Adventure 2 movie. And I'm like, did we see the same title treatment? The logo? Live and Learn playing? Shadow? Are we seeing the same marketing here? Like,
like the idea is just basically like, okay, let's say they do. I mean, I think this goes to one thing you talked about where it's like, oh, they could replace Amy. It's like, okay, but if they did replace Amy, and they made, like, I don't know, just like they gave it to
where does the line get drawn?
Well, I mean, but if they make those changes, what about that is better to you than if it was just Amy? Because that's the thing about changes, right? If you make a change to an adaptation, it needs to be either, like, neutral, like it doesn't, it doesn't really change anything. It could be different, but it's not necessarily better or worse. Maybe
it either needs to be like a step left or a step forward. It can't be a step back.
Yeah, exactly. Or is it going to be better? And I just can't see a world. Obviously, you can make anything good, like they're saying, but it's like conceptually, when we're talking about this to, like, other people, like, why wouldn't you be, like, preaching, like, no, we need to have Amy in this. I want to have Amy because, guys, don't you like Amy?
Can we also look at the optics?
Sonic Adventure 2?
Can we look at the optics of this, though? I hate to take it there because it's an ugly place to take it, but we've got the two most important female characters in Sonic history here. we've got Amy, who is the first female character in Sonic history, and they don't really have a lot of female characters in these movies, and people are looking at Amy Rose, someone who is part of the main four, and the resident girl of the team, and saying, nah. It's like, representation does matter. I saw a comment on one of my videos saying, oh, feminism, who doesn't love that? And I was just like, proper grassroots feminism, actual feminism, not like the third wave stuff that you're going to see memes of on right-wing TikTok. I mean, actual
stuff that
feminism is a necessary component to modern entertainment. It's a necessary entertainment to modern politics. It is just a necessary component in life. It's just the idea that, you know, equality is just, it's that basic thing. And there is a huge disparity between the male characters and female characters in these movies, and there's a lot of little girls going to see these movies. And I understand that people are like, oh, is it really necessary to have a girl hedgehog for them to enjoy it? No, but since when was this about what's necessary? This is about what's justified. This is about what's beneficial. These are movies.
About what's fun.
This isn't a national minimum wage. It's a movie. It's not about what you need in there. It's about what people would enjoy. And like I tell you, like yesterday's video I uploaded was called "Justice for Amy Rose." In that video, I kind of made a lot of cases about why Amy Rose absolutely should be in movie 3, how she could be worked into it in a way that wouldn't detract from the story, and just why she's an amazing character that doesn't need to be toned down. And it had kind of a therapeutic effect on me because it was finally there where I actually saw people coming out of the woodwork going to bat for Amy Rose and pointing out how dumb the arguments that she shouldn't be there are. Oh, just use an already established character to do that. But these are never going to grow if that's the case. Oh, she'll detract screen time from Shadow the Hedgehog. Guys, he had 3 stages in Sonic Adventure 2. And people say, oh, his backstory is so elaborate and complicated. It's not. A little girl got shot and he wants to destroy the world. That's all there is to it. And in Sonic Adventure 2, you only see that in very quick flashbacks. Very quick flashbacks. There's less than 5 minutes spent on Shadow's origin story in Sonic Adventure 2. And people say, oh, but that's a game. It's different pacing. Yeah, it's 6 hours long. And if in a 6-hour game, they only needed under 5 minutes to establish Shadow's origin stories, and you can factor in Shadow the Hedgehog all you want, at the time Sonic Adventure 2 came out, that was to be the only game Shadow would be in. That was, to Sonic Team, that was the last Sonic game they were making at the time. There was no kind of, oh, we're going to save some bits for later. They were going to do it, and I see people saying, oh, they should save Amy for later. We shouldn't take for granted that this series is going to exist forever. It's insane that we got to where we did with these Sonic movies. You can't take sequels for granted every single time. And I just think, you know, that would be 5 entries in now, if you count the Knuckles series. That'd be 5 entries in. It took us 5 entries to actually get to the first girl hedgehog character. And people say, oh, yeah, there's girls. There's JoJo, Maddie. Look at what kids connect with.
But in reality, though,
look at what yeah. Look at what kids are going to connect with in these movies. Kids make Sonic OCs because they want to relate to these characters. They want a character that represents them in some way. That's why they make OCs. It's such a known phenomenon that they made a whole fucking game to accommodate for that. I've never once in my entire life seen a human OC come from a child. No child has ever made a human Sonic OC, to my knowledge, but if they have, I haven't seen it, and there's probably a reason for that. Is because they're drowned out by the millions of hedgehogs and rabbits and creatures and stuff like that. So, you know, but like, yeah, it's the thing is, I'm so tired of the notion that these movies are going to be influenced by people who don't have imagination, who just think these movies should always play it safe, spin their wheels in place. But I don't hear anything about people saying, oh boy, more human characters when they announce all these different characters. I want to point out another thing. I mentioned this in my video. I want to point out another thing. Female representation in the Sonic movies we've got so far. As far as animal characters go, we've got Longclaw, made up for the movie, gets shot in the face. As far as characters from the games go, we've got Maria Robotnik, human, gets shot in the face. There's gotta be a female character in here that doesn't get shot in the face, for fuck's sake. Like...
Well, and it's one of those things too where it's like with Amy and all these things, it's like for the argument that people will make of like, oh well, you can't have Shadow and Amy get introduced, like you just don't have time, and that is just not true. Like just that, like that's one of the few things that is just objectively not true. If you've watched any Disney movie, any Marvel movie, any movie where that's not based on like an original IP that you care about or whatever, like you all those characters are original. When you watch The Incredibles, Bob Parr, Helen, Dash, Violet, Syndrome,
Yes.
Frozone, all those characters are original.
Oh,
Hello?
they can't introduce Frozone. They got to relegate time to Syndrome's story. You know?
Yeah, so Dash and Violet, honestly, putting them in the first movie, I feel like it took up a little too much time, and we didn't get to develop Bob's existential. Oh wait, we did have time to. Helen dealing with. Oh, we did have time for that. Oh wait, just write a good movie. That's like when people when people make this argument, it is just assuming that the people who make the Sonic movies are idiots who can't just write a good story.
Also, bear in mind, you could even do this as the opening scene. You could have an opening action scene that's kind of detached from the rest of the story. Like the Underminer battle in Incredibles 2, you could have movie 3 open with Sonic fighting Metal Sonic and rescuing Amy. And it's like, I didn't know there were other hedgehogs here. And she's like, I didn't either. Oh my god, I love you, or some shit. It's not going to play out like that. It's the bullet points. And then you could go from there. You could literally...
It doesn't take much to endear you. Like, this is one of the wonderful things about stories, is that it doesn't take much to endear you to a character if you know what notes to hit, whether it be the design, or, I mean, millions and millions of Sonic fans become Sonic fans because they look at Sonic and they go, what is that? Right? Like, it doesn't take much to endear you to a character.
What is that?
What are those? As
Also,
what are Sonic?
I just, while it's here, I quickly want to touch on something. So, this is not an attack on you, Zach the Robot, by any means. I just want to use what you've mentioned here as kind of a point to just kind of springboard things off of. He mentions, I don't think it's entirely wrong for people to have this concern, though, because Tails was very much sidelined in the second Sonic movie. All right, again, this isn't an attack. This is just, I just want to use that as a springboard, and I do appreciate you giving your input and stuff. It's a perfectly well thought out concern, but I just want to ask this one thing. Would Sonic 2 be a better movie if Tails wasn't in it?
Well, and I would add to that, the problem is the problem is not that because Tails was in it and we had to spend time on Knuckles, Tails couldn't get the attention. The problem is the writer for that movie did not allot enough time to Tails, and that is the fault of the writer, or whoever makes these decisions in the end, right? It's a collaborative process.
I even want to mention, I thought Tails was done okay. He had a small role in that movie, sure, but I think he was done really well. Tails' purpose in that movie was kind of complementing Sonic's kind of maturity arc. In this case, Tails is kind of the Sonic of this movie, and Sonic's kind of taken up Tom Wachowski's role of kind of guiding him through this adventure, but unlike Tom, Sonic isn't an adult, and when Tails gets kind of iced after the avalanche scene, like, Sonic feels really bad about it. Like, when Tails is knocked out, that's when he's like, I gotta take responsibility, I gotta take things seriously, I gotta go fight Knuckles and stuff like that. I think Tails has a great role in the second movie, but even then, like, even if it's a smaller role, I would say Sonic 2 would be a worse movie if Tails wasn't there.
Right, and what I'm just more saying is that it is not that it is just it is not that it was just unlikely that they could have wrote a story for Tails where people would be satisfied, right? Obviously, you're saying like it works for what it is, but I'm just saying a lot of people, I could understand if they're like, oh, maybe Tails could have had like a bigger punctuation moment for his arc, right? Because the most he really has is that he fights alongside everyone at the end, but he doesn't get that moment sitting in the sand with Knuckles talking, right? He doesn't get that kind of a moment in the movie.
He's not the center of the film.
Right. He just doesn't get like an arc in that way. So if people want more of that, that's totally fair. But that is not a problem because it just couldn't fit. That where in Sonic 2 the movie could we have possibly spared 1 minute of time? I can't really think of any character could have done that. I can't think of a superfluous dance scene that we could have cut out. I can't think of a superfluous wedding scene. I couldn't think of an action scene that we could have trimmed out. No, there's no. It's literally just that they just didn't do it well that time in terms of like what you're asking for. And if that's the case, it's just more so put in Amy. And that leads more back into Pup's point, is that even if in the next movie they make that same mistake with having Amy there, okay, cool, Amy's now here and she still gets stuff. Her existing in these movies at all and getting the amount of time that Tails got in movie 2 is much better than her just not existing. You know?
I agree.
I think the other
at
point
least
that
bring her
people-
in, and then they can at least have her in the film. And then,
Yes.
like, if she doesn't get a million things to do, sort of like Tails, then we have more movies after this. Theoretically, we have
she should
more
at
shows.
least she should at least get the Shadow redemption moment. In fact, like if people are like, what would we even do with Amy in this story? Approach it head on. Approach it head on. I said in my video, make Amy the audience surrogate for the kids that wonder what it would be like to fight alongside Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't have the power of fists. She can't fly. She's not as fast as Sonic, so she brings a hammer with her everywhere she goes. And the point where she finally shines is when she puts the hammer down and goes to just talk to Shadow while everyone else has just been kicking his ass. That would be such a good audience surrogate for the kiddos. But no, apparently audience surrogates have to be human cops. So, like,
Yeah,
I didn't
so
get that
relatable.
memo. My bad.
And I just want to cut in right here, as is customary with PowerPoint Party, because I've finished my gosh darn magnum opus, and I really need you guys to see this. It's still based on Knuckles, so this is still very on topic, but I need to show you guys what I've been making, because this is something else.
We will definitely
that's
resume.
okay.
We will definitely resume the remainder of the discussion, because there's so much still to kind of say about the reception of the Sonic movie stuff, and how these movies can get better and everything. And that's the thing, is when you're fighting against people, all that these people want is just more Sonic stuff, and it's like, is that not what you want too? But go on, Dylan. Knock us dead. Show us what you've got. So let me
Okay,
hit
I'm
the watch
streaming right
stream.
now.
Wait, hold it.
Yeah, no, I'm not starting it.
Okay,
All right,
we're ready.
Ian, you gotta get in here. All right, you guys can see this?
Yep.
Ian,
Alright.
can you see?
Yes, I can.
All right, can you hear? Hold on,
Sonic,
this.
my son.
Yes.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is something. Pup sent me a message as soon as I left my house and said, "Do you have a PowerPoint party ready?" And in that 1 second of seeing that message, I conceptualized basically this entire thing. I call this Knuckles in a Nutshell. So this is a retelling of the Knuckles show from my brain directly to your hearts. All right, ready?
I'm
Here
so
we go.
excited.
Sonic, my son. Where's Ozzy?
Knuckles, this sounds like a bad idea, IMO.
That's it. You are grounded.
Knuckles, I love Hatsune Miku. Oh no, help me, Knuckles. I am only in episode 1.
Oh, you didn't get the strike.
We must fool. Fooling is nice, actually.
Knuckles, I want you.
No!
He got him.
Fuck.
Wade, my son. It is so great to see you. I hate you, Wade. Fuck you.
If she just repeatedly hit him with a
You
fork.
are Knuckles now. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Pistol Pete, my dear old dad, I have missed you greatly and want to be a part of your life. I love you, father.
No!
Oh man.
Fuck.
Oh my god, the pistol is Pete.
Please,
That
please
was-
upload that. Please upload that to like Twitter. That's great.
Yeah. And again, for audio listeners, this is a great reason to check out the Sunset City YouTube channel, because that was incredible.
That's amazing.
That's the
probably-
best way of that. That's like the Snyder cut of the Knuckles TV series.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. It took me basically the entire stream so far because I didn't have time to work on it before I got home.
It's all worthwhile now, man. I've got to upload that in isolation. Actually, you've got the original video file, yeah? So you've got to upload that to this channel in isolation because that is amazing.
I can upload it to Sunset City, and I'll probably also put it on Twitter. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, just put it wherever it needs to be because that that was the quintessential way of watching the series.
My favorite bit was every time Wade's on screen, he just goes, "Fuck." No matter what's happening, it's everything. He doesn't have any lines except for that bit at the end. I had a little bit more ideas, but like, as I got towards the end of it, I was like, and there's really nothing good to make fun of in like the last episode. So I was like, whatever. Let's do the quick pistol P and then say it's over.
Well, I like it. I think that was better than Nate Morgan dying.
I don't know. I think I laughed harder at
How
that
can
one.
you?
But...
Okay, Egan, would you fucking go see a movie and say this is even better than my best friend's funeral? Come on, man, have some class.
But thank you. I'm glad that you liked it. That was certainly more effort than the Nate Morgan PowerPoint. But
The Nate Morgan one had the fact that the bomb just kept going off.
that killed me. I love how he left out the buyer. I forgot he was in the show. I didn't remember him in the show at all.
So
You gotta have just the after credits is Nick just going no.
oh, boy.
Oh,
Good
God.
golly, Miss Molly. Okay,
well,
so
that's that.
kind of continuing a little on the conversation surrounding kind of the Paramount Sonic universe. There's been a lot of talk saying, and I understand that this is a conversation I used to feed into quite a bit. After like the first Sonic movie dropped, I would kind of say, I think Paramount is trying to consider strictly what is marketable from the Sonic franchise and only go for kind of what is the most marketable to a general audience. And I was pretty humbled by the second Sonic movie, and especially like the Super Mario Brothers Illumination film, really kind of knocked that one aside and made me realize, well, this is Sonic. You know? Oh my god, it's my buddy Lewis in the chat. He's literally in the next room over from me. He's a buddy that comes over to record an EP with my buddy Sam. Metamorph. That's just a thing we do. But, okay, so, yeah, there's a lot of taken into account, like, what is and isn't marketable and stuff like that now. And it kind of made me realize, this is a big IP. Like, it's globally recognized. Everybody knows who these characters are. Everybody knows who Sonic is, knows who Robotnik is, knows who Tails is, knows who Knuckles is, knows who Amy is. They all know it. Everybody. Even someone who hasn't played a game before knows who these characters are because they are that ingrained into public consciousness. You might have seen them in a toy store when you're taking your kids to Walmart or something like that. They're always going to be somewhere in your periphery. So I kind of reject the conversation of what is and isn't marketable now. But also, when talking about these TV shows and talking about what we want from them, we gotta stop acting like we are Paramount's marketing department, because we're not. There's people that are paid to do that. We are fans, we are critics, we are the audience who are paying for these products, and at this point, you should just ask for what you want. Enough with the whole, that's not marketable, that's not feasible, that's not in the budget, because that's not for us to say. If you want a Knuckles series, where Knuckles is looking after the Master Emerald on Angel Island and shit, ask for it. Ask for it. If you don't like what they just gave us, don't be like, oh, that's all they could do. Just be like, yeah, no, I want the other thing. I want the other thing. If you want the Sonic 2 to be a Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation, ask for it. Just ask for what you want. You're not obligated to empathize so much with Paramount. I don't know why lately Sonic fans have been so conditioned. Sonic fans have been so conditioned to empathize with corporations now. It feels that way since, like, Sonic Frontiers, where the conversation turned from, this game looks unfinished, to, oh, they're just doing their best, just leave them alone. Like, it's a product. You're paying $60 for it. Like, Sonic Discourse now is the people saying, this isn't good enough, versus the people saying, I am literally Sega and you're hurting my feelings. That's where, and I'm not saying that people that enjoy it are all saying that, because again, I loved Sonic Frontiers. I adore that game. I think it's the greatest thing ever made. I've made love to that game a few times, but I'm not gonna pretend I am Sega whenever someone says this ain't good enough.
Yeah, no.
And also,
I get you.
stop pussyfooting around the general audience, okay? Because the general audience will eat shit if you feed it to them. Minions. The Minions is one of the most lucrative fucking franchises in the world, and Illumination pulled those movies out of the toilets and rammed them down your throat with the greatest marketing campaigns. If you want to talk about what's marketable, if you're trepidatious about putting more Sonic shit in this for fear of marketing, the key isn't leave it out. The key is market it. The key is make it inescapable. The key is to make it fucking annoying. You know?
Well, that's what I always think is funny whenever, and this just applies to like kids shows in general or kids movies, is the idea of like, well, it's made for kids, so like we don't need to add this other stuff. And like the idea that I'm always thinking is like, well, guys, if it's for kids, I actually do agree that kids will more or less just watch anything unless it's like dreadfully boring, right? So if a kid just will go see a Sonic movie, then you can make it whatever you want. like in terms of like having more Sonic stuff, because they're gonna watch it anyway. Duh.
I want to point out, Illumination last year released a film called Migration. It's a film about fucking ducks. They just look like regular ducks. They don't have any superpowers. They're fucking ducks. And the movie was a smash hit, kind of, for its budget anyway. It did what it needed to do. Like, it was a low-budget film, and it wasn't marketed with the same budget as, say, the Super Mario Brothers movie. It was one of their B films, but it was still a big success. It was a movie about ducks, dude. Just fucking ducks. Look at the Migration movie poster, right? I'm gonna look it up myself. Migration movie poster. Look at the Migration poster. Like, it's ducks. It's just ducks doing duck things. I'm gonna put it in the back rooms.
And now we have Sonic characters. Sonic characters just will sell because they're Sonic characters.
No, they won't. It'll alienate people, apparently. You can't have a Sonic movie about Sonic stuff. It won't sell. It's not marketable. It's not as though...
I don't understand.
It's not as though these characters haven't been marketable for 30 whole years. It's not as though they weren't just plastered all over IHOP recently. And it's not like, we were born Sonic fans. We weren't. No one's born a Sonic fan. We were all the general audience at some point, but I don't remember ever playing Sonic 2 and being like, okay, this is too far, as soon as I saw Tails.
Yeah. It's also very strange to me. Like, I feel like the Mario movie is another good thing to point out as well, because the general public will know Mario. They will know probably the Princess and Donkey Kong and at least Green Mario. Like, they will understand this. But there's also a whole lot of things in the Mario movie that are for people to go, oh, like me, to go, oh shit, look at that, that's a Dry Bones, I know that guy from Mario 3. And, like, the general public might not get that, but they're not going to see it and go, I hate this is bad. They're going to go, oh, look, that's a little skeleton guy, that's pretty, he's getting chased by skeletons.
And here's the thing, I understand that the Super Mario Brothers movie isn't an amazing film. I get it. As a film, it's not great, but put it this way, if I'm going to see a Sonic movie, I will be happier if I get something that is intrinsically Sonic than something that is a masterpiece that doesn't have as much to do with Sonic, that shies away from Sonic. I'm not going into Sonic asking for a masterpiece. I'm going into Sonic asking for Sonic, If I want a masterpiece, I'll watch, I don't know, Cowboy Bebop or something. But I'm not going to watch...
My friend Jack has a great, great quote here. He said, kids will wear shirts with the Sonic characters on them. I'd never wear a Wade Whipple shirt anytime soon. Exactly.
Paramount, ask
these
yourself...
These characters are marketable as fuck.
Can you sell a Wade Whipple shirt? You can't even sell a Wade Whipple show. It's why you tried and called it Knuckles in the end.
I was going to say, what did they market it with? Knuckles.
And if we want to talk about marketability, let's focus on the fact that the Wade Whipple show was marketed using Knuckles, a side character from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Silly.
No, it's all nonsense talking points in terms of like any
silly.
Any of the talking points that are around the idea of like, no, they can't put that much effort into it, or no, people just don't like silly cartoon characters. characters? Like, it's all nonsense. It's just
Oh
pure.
shoot! Except they do. It's been
It's
proven
the-
time and
they
time
really
again,
do
over and over again.
It's the same
forever.
mentality that led to David Zaslav canning the Coyote versus Acme movie, and we all agree that David Zaslav's a piece of shit, right? So quit acting like a bunch of shit pieces, people.
Well, that's not good.
David Crespo in the chat says, "I work at a preschool and the kids wear Sonic shirts all the time." Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
And
free
who knows?
publicity, free marketing for your movie.
Yeah. And who knows? Obviously, all of this is like truncated to like Twitter discourse and YouTube discourse, and like Twitter isn't reality. So maybe all these conversations don't really matter in the not in the grand scheme of like what is Paramount hearing? Do they really care one way or the other? Jeff Fowler, what's he gonna do? But I do think obviously these are the circles we're in. So it's just kind of I would. The thing I would want out of conversations like these would be that if you are someone who are, talking about these things, like lean more towards actively asking for what you want. Like, that there is fun to be had. And like when people, when people are trying to figure out like who's going to voice Shadow or who's the characters that can come in. I just think it just hurts your enjoyment of things to be like, no, I'm gonna not, shoot for the moon and ask for really fun things. I'm gonna settle on arguing the point of, well, they're just not creative enough to come up with cool ideas. And you know what? Neither am I. I'm just gonna sit back, just relax, and just let them feed me whatever I get. It's like, no, like just ask for something. Ask for fun stuff. Enjoy the conversation and the ideas of what a Sonic the Hedgehog movie could bring you, because that's what's fun. So
Yeah. Ask for the food you want. Don't just accept what they hand you.
yes, exactly.
You want more bacon in your bacon burger? Go asking for more bacon in your bacon burger. Don't say I understand that's why they don't do the bacon in the bacon burger. It doesn't hurt you. If they say no, you don't have to be a Karen about it. You can just accept that this burger restaurant ain't for you, I guess. But like at the end of the day, you're still allowed to be unhappy about a lack of bacon in your bacon burger, bro.
Yeah. Getting a bacon burger and having like one bacon on it and that's it is like watching the Knuckles Paramount show.
No, watching the Knuckles Paramount show is like asking for a burger, and they give you some crumbs of a burger that's been chewed up, and it's in like a salmon salad mix. And I hate salmon.
I thought you were about to make like a really cool transition into the comments of like you get a burger and instead you get a question with a super chat.
Oh no, we're far from finished. Actually, no, I think we are kind of near the end of
I was
this
gonna
now.
say, because I do need to leave soon. So
God, what is it with people and having finite amounts of time? God. All right.
haircut, I need it all off.
Well, in that case, you boys talk amongst yourselves while I copy paste all the super chats into the super chat mailbag.
Okay. All right.
I know you
Dylan,
guys aren't friends
yeah?
and you don't get along, but like
What? I would not say that.
Tales
That's
2
not what I would
reference.
say at all.
Dylan is a cool
In
guy,
fact,
from what I can tell.
oh shit, Ian. Yesterday, Pup was like, "Hey, I hope you don't mind. I invited Ian to be on the show tomorrow," and I was like, "That rocks, dude. Let's
Well,
go."
thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, I think his
Yeah,
anus
man.
is nice and clean now, Dylan.
Wait, does that mean you're done with the super chats or no?
No, I'm being a bully.
Oh, okay.
No, but I sent you
Oh,
a
I
message
see,
earlier,
I
like,
see.
I'm a good employer,
I see
right?
what you
I'm good to work with, right?
I was like out. Okay, here's what I did today. I went to my friend's house. He got the Slay the Spire board game, and it's so fucking cool and awesome and good. Like, holy shit. If you guys have never played Slay the Spire, I don't like roguelike games that much, but that's one of like the best games in the universe, I think.
And where does it take place in the Spyro series?
No, not Spyro. Slay the Spire.
Spyro the Dragon?
No, Spire, like a big tower, like a big twisty tower.
Spyro Enter the Dragonfly?
Don't say that to me.
Don't speak such
I want them
words.
to remake it and make it really good and really expand on it. However, I mean, yeah,
I
it has
don't-
been said that Toys for Bob are actually working on Spyro 4, which kind of means that, like, yeah, they're still doing it, even though
Supposedly.
they've gone indie.
I really hope so. Like, I know that there was the big thing about it, like talking about how it is in production. It has been reached like an agreement, possibly, maybe. I just really hope that they're making do what they did for Crash 4, except without all the dumb bullshit, and make it really good. This is like the most basic thing. Make it a good game, please. That's what I'm saying. Please
do what they did for the Knuckles TV series, except make it a game, make it good, make it nothing like the Knuckles TV series, but just make it exist.
Make it a game that I could play, except not like a reality TV show that isn't good. Make it.
I mean,
good.
Knuckles is not a
I'm
reality
not-
TV show. What?
I'm not saying that Crash 4 is not good. By the way,
Are you saying
I'm just
echidnas are real?
It had some dumb shit in it that I didn't like, but for the most part, Crash 4 was very, very good.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
if they were... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna
If
say,
they were-
speaking of echidnas, some hilarious news, and I don't know how this is possible, but Ken Penders is releasing so since he won the lawsuit or however it worked, or they settled out of court or whatever it is, he is making an omnibus of the 25 years later stories from the Archie Sonic comics. He apparently, according to him, can legally print these stories even though they have Sonic the Hedgehog, Sally Acorn, Knuckles the Echidna in it, and he's making a hardback cover of like this storyline because it leads directly into his
Lara
his
Sue
comic
Chronicles.
he's making, which is the Lara Sue Chronicles. So either he's going to release this and get sued, or he's going to release this and it's going to be hilarious that he just did this with he's going to release an official Sonic product with no Sega involvement.
That's very interesting, and
That would kind of be...
I would say I wish him the best, but I think I just want to see what's going to happen.
Well, and because here's the thing. So you look at that and you go, okay, well, it is like 25 years later, Knuckles and Sonic, so maybe like there's a difference in that. Maybe they wouldn't count it because it's like future Knuckles. Because I think he literally owns the copyright to future Knuckles. He owns the copyright to Green. He owns the copyright to Green Knuckles and Evil Sonic, which is hilarious. So he might own future Knuckles, and so maybe he can technically reprint these and King Sonic or whatever because they're technically different characters. But he also plans to release an omnibus of the Knuckles the Echidna comic book series that he wrote, which is just Knuckles. And so like I'm like, can he do that? But that's what he plans to do, and I am very excited.
I don't know. I feel like he can't do that part.
I know!
I feel like that might be a trouble.
That's what he wants
You
to
know
do,
what?
though. He's very confident.
I just thought of one thing that made me laugh in the Knuckles TV series, and I feel like even though the topic has moved so far past that point, if I can think of something that made me laugh in the Knuckles TV series, I need to scream it to the world.
Okay.
When the henchmen were holding Wanda at gunpoint, and Wade is like, oh, you could kill her.
That's right. He doesn't mean that. No,
I was
do.
rooting for him. I was rooting for them there. And then as soon as they were like about to kill his mom, I was like, wait, no. I was like, that's kind of funny. That's actually quite funny.
Very well.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put a pin in that. I
was
I
quiet.
look forward to seeing whatever the outcome is. Penders is a guy I do not know what to make of. There's like an element of me that's like, oh, cool. It's cool that creative is actually, fighting for their work and getting the rights to it. That's something I can kind of get behind. But I just see him on Twitter and I think, dude, you're kind of a dick sometimes.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Penders, the based Ken and the cringe Ken.
Yeah. I really would have liked to have seen that issue about Jeffrey St. John's taking Sally's virginity, but not for the reasons he wanted to write it.
I wish he hadn't said that, but
that was a thing. That's something
I
that
know.
he was... Yeah.
I'm aware. I just wish he hadn't said it.
And he specifically said, Sonic is fast, but Jeffrey was quicker to the draw on that one. That's the quote.
Oh.
What does he mean by that? I understand I understand the basic version of what he means by that. Jeffrey got there in time, but what if he also means other things? Stimulation-related things. He's like, Sonic is like, oh, I'll try to pleasure you, whereas Jeffrey's, I'm going to do that goddamn thing. I'm going to turn you into a little super soaker, you know that?
And even better is, or even worse, is that he's an adult and she's canonically a child.
We're gonna move. We're gonna just swiftly what
about the super chats? Oh shit!
We're gonna move. We're Why do they draw her like that? Anyways, me watching anime be like, Burger. Dylan.
Burger. Okay. Today's first super chat is from. Let's see.
This was also submitted before we even began, so Josiah ain't kidding.
Oh shit. Josiah Roverosa with 5 $4.99 US. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Tails, this reminds me of that. Oh, I think it's Sonic. Tails, this reminds me of that time Wade Whipple defeated that guy. Who is he from? Who? Wait, hold on. Sorry. Tails, this reminds me of that time Wade Whipple defeat that guy. In parentheses, who was he? That one time it was freaking sweet.
It says sweat.
I'm not making fun of you. That's just how it's written. I'm
I
sorry.
love how like Family Guy is so deeply embedded into Sunset City lore now. Like, okay, my turn.
Sorry.
So,
everybody.
Borger. Twilord sends €5. This is why Doom's Eye is exciting. Seems like the best case for fully actualized lore respect. I completely agree. And you know what? There is something I wanted to mention here. A silver lining, if Paramount's Knuckles actually does do well, is that it might show Sega that spin-offs are actually in demand. And maybe they will get to work on their own Knuckles material. But that would also require for them to listen, pay attention, and be kind of intelligent. And they don't have the best track record of that, but we will see. We will see. Get hard light on
Maybe
it.
they'll put Wade in the games.
Yeah, right. I wanna just pretend you're not here. So, Ian Borker.
From $2 from Jamal Simmons.
Who is? Now, you gotta call him by his actual name.
Who dat?
Our
He's
pal
our pal.
Jamal. Our pal
Oh,
Jamal.
Okay,
Otherwise, he
alright,
will not know that he's our pal, and he'll think that we've abandoned him. So, you gotta make sure he
Fair,
knows.
Very parasocial of you to say.
Well, he says, "Happy B Theory weekend. Sonic Unleash is GOAT."
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. Borker.
Oh, here we go. This is the part where I have the 50-50 shot of saying the wrong currency. Alright.
I said it earlier.
I know, but I wasn't listening.
Piece of shit.
Alright. We have £5
No,
from
for
Twilord.
fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. You're really going to fuck this one up, Dylan. That is a euro.
€5.
There you go.
Whatever, I don't give a shit.
Start giving a
Alright.
shit. Start giving a
No.
shit. You're trying to run a
from
restaurant,
Twilord.
and you're not giving a shit about your fucking restaurant. Okay?
Yeah, I don't give a shit about my restaurant.
Selling
Alright,
frozen food. Raw!
€5 from Twilord. Unleashed was a great spiritual successor to Shadow the Hedgehog. Light dark duality, hero with amnesia, gem-powered war temples, eldritch devil in a space rock. Dude, you're so right.
He's actually really bang on there, yeah.
You're so right on that.
Dead on.
Twilord.
Fucking dead on. Borker. Twilord returns with another €5, Dylan! Forcing you to spend time with random characters, badly copying Sonic, requiring an additional platform, metatextually faithful to Knuckles' chaotics. Come now, stop it now. Stop. I don't care much for Knuckles' chaotics either, but what are you doing here? What are you doing here, brother?
He's already dead.
Alright, Ian, you ready?
Yes.
Fries!
David,
Fries.
because it's America. I don't know. David Crespo, 199 US. Shadow kicking Sonic before a movie reference.
Actually, that'd be okay if he's about to make a movie reference and then Shadow just puts his foot in his mouth. Doesn't even like kick him, he just like inserts his bare foot into his mouth and wiggles his toes.
I hate that. Absolutely hate that.
It will happen every day until you like it.
No.
Borker.
Twilord with another €5. Either put in the main girl of the franchise, or put the girl whose story this is supposed to be, or both.
Wait a
True.
minute. Whose
Why
story
not
is
both?
it? Sorry,
Yeah.
oh, Rouge.
It's Amy's or Rouge.
I actually feel like Amy actually has a bigger impact on that story than Rouge does. Rouge more serves to personify Gun, I think, and kind of serve as the shade of grey and the very yin and yang kind of thing that Sonic Adventure 2 is about. But I think Amy ultimately plays the bigger role, even though she gets less screen time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's so nice to be validated by things. I like you, Ian. Please be my buddy forever.
No, I can't replace Dylan.
Ah, you're right. It is true. You have followed along with the logic of only one friend at a time. Borker HD. Wait, who is this?
Alright.
Is this...
This is you.
It is?
Yes.
Alright, so C-Man, I gotta laugh every time, sends $7.99 dollary dues and says, can't wait for Silver 2026 starring Wanda. Shit aside, I hope Sega learns the right lesson from Nickel's success. Can I get a confidence-boosting Pingus? You sure can! Pingus! See? Remember,
Okay,
ask and you shall
that
receive.
First part, before the Wanda mention, that would make... Honestly, I think if it was a Silver and Wanda show, I would not watch it, despite being a huge fan of Silver.
Dylan, they're never
I
gonna
mean,
do Silver. He's not marketable. He's not marketable, Dylan.
Yes, he is. He's so cool and great.
He's not marketable, Dylan. You know, my
He's literally
main...
gonna be...
My main on Sonic Prime Dash is Super Silver.
See? He's marketable. He's super cool.
I love Silver. Like, hell yeah to
Yeah.
Silver. But
He's
I
literally
just,
the coolest man that's ever lived.
if you like him, I don't want that to happen. To all the people saying that we have no right being upset about Knuckles, I hope they do this to your favorite character.
Why would you wish that on anyone else?
I hope you get a multi-million-dollar TV series.
Yeah,
I
and
hope they
it's-
make a Wade show. They call it Wade, and Wade's not even in it that much.
Imagine the Wade show comes out and it's better than Knuckles, because it's got Knuckles
It's
in it.
about Knuckles.
When the Wade show comes out and it's all about Knuckles, you're gonna be crying.
The Wade show that's all about Silver.
When
Hell
the Tom
yeah.
Wachowski movie comes out called Sonic 3 and it's actually about Sonic, this metaphor doesn't work, because Sonic 3. Porker.
All right,
Alright.
who's next?
$9 dues from C-Man. Dylan be creating cinema out of a mediocre show.
You're so right, C-Man. You're so bloody right.
I cooked today. After yeah.
You cooked while we were talking. You were at the...
I cooked while you guys were handling the brunt
This
of everything.
It's supposed to be a restaurant. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
Porker HD.
Burger HD from Mega Traffic Cone, my friend Jack. $1.99 US dollary dues. Pizza party fund for raising staff morale. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah. You're gonna have a pizza party, Dylan, but you're not gonna get paid, you little bitch.
I've already got pizza. That's what I'm eating after this. I'm so ready.
Can you tell everyone that I pay you fairly?
I do get paid for this, yes.
You get paid fairly.
I mean, we split the money, so it is fair, yeah.
Yeah. It's always on
As
time,
far as
isn't it,
I'm
Dylan?
aware, at least.
Tell them what a good employer I am.
It's so far, it's been great.
Yeah. I like a little tickle on the butthole. Alright,
Oh,
Porker.
never mind.
My turn. So, sexual harassment in the workplace is rampant, but you do at least get paid on time. Zach Brukowski sends $4.99. Hope Amy and Rouge are in this movie. If they're not, this movie is definitely not hitting the G-spot.
That's not what he said.
What? I had to look back. I was like, I can almost guarantee that's not what they wrote.
What do you mean? It's exactly what they wrote. That's exactly what Zach Brukowski put. Look for yourself.
I don't think so. I see it right here. You wrote it in here.
No. Wait. There, see?
He's
Told you.
editing it. Let
No,
it be
I'm not-
known. He
I'm
is,
not
it
editing.
says
I'm
edited
not
next
editing
to
it. I'm not editing it, Mum.
Okay, you see the little edited text right next to it? That says
Ignore
otherwise.
it. Just ignore it. There's a glitch.
Oh, sorry.
Run a poll. We gotta run a
Sorry,
poll.
you're right.
We have to run a poll.
Is it a glitch? No anything. That's all.
It's just gonna
No
put,
context.
did he really say that?
Did he really say that?
That's what the poll now
No
says.
context.
Hell yeah. Alright,
7%.
Ian, you're up. Borker.
All right, Joe Mama for US $10.
It doesn't say that, does it?
That's what it means.
Read it properly.
That was very close.
Read it properly.
Joe Madre for
There you
10
go.
US dollars. What are your thoughts on the idea of Sonic? When Sonic can be anything, then Sonic becomes nothing. The Knuckles show has made me realize fans will genuinely be okay with anything as long as it has Sonic.
I mean, take Paul Blart Mall Cop and edit in some shots, some reaction shots of Knuckles, and then give it to the Sonic fans and see what happens. And they did that, and they liked it. And look, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. If you like Paul Blart Mall Cop 3 and Knuckles, fine, I'm not judging, but that ain't what I want. Please learn to understand that. That's all I got.
I would say that with the, because I know I've seen a few YouTubers talk about the idea of like for example, one of the reasons they don't like the idea of like, even if Boom is like a funny comedy, right? It's like, that's not what I want from Sonic or Archie or Fleetway or even IDW. People have a lot of find a lot of incongruities. And so it's these kind of there are people who look at Sonic and they enjoy it from the kind of Batman Superman angle, or more so Batman, where it's like Batman has like a core identity of like he's like the Dark Knight, or or he's a man in a bat suit and he has gadgets and he fights wacky villains. And then you have the version of that where they take that seriously or they take that silly, make it silly. And so a lot of people kind of enjoy the Batman approach for Sonic, where it's like Sonic can just kind of be put in anything because Sonic is such a cool character, and as long as you get the basics, you're good. But then there's a lot of people who want it from the angle of like, Sonic is a character who has a very unique appeal to me. And so this idea of like, oh, just put Sonic in anything, just dilute what he is, that kind of like devalues it for people. My thought would be that we've already done that. It's too late. Like, we can't really go back to this idea of like what Sonic should be, because there are so many generations of people who what they started out with Sonic is what Sonic should be. So I would just say it's just unfortunately, if you're someone who does feel like Sonic needs to have a set identity, that's just never going to happen, because it's not been like that since literally the 90s. So it just kind of is.
I'd say the solution to that is that Sega should end this homogenization process, restore the Archieverse, and just go all in. Make everyone's childhood count.
Yeah, that's the only really way to work around it, is just promote all different sides, give it, but obviously money and all that kind of stuff. So it just kind of is what it is. It's unfortunate.
See, I think they should make Nights into Dreams 3 and leave it at that.
What's Knights?
And maybe, yeah, Knights is cool.
It's not marketable, though.
True.
I disagree. Make a AAA Knights game and people will be like, what the fuck is this? But I'll like it a lot.
Knights is just that shit Klonoa clone.
It's literally not. It isn't.
No, I know it's not. I know. I haven't played it, but I know that it was pretty revolutionary. Still,
It's
I think
good. It's fun.
I just think for the next Sonic Dream Team DLC, they should put both Knights and Klonoa in it, because no Dream Team is complete without Klonoa.
And Billy.
Yeah, without telling Bandai to put Klonoa.
Well, Bandai aren't doing dickle, so just steal him. Like, it's the Klonoa heist. It's the Scrimblow heist.
This is exactly what happened in Smiling Friends. The scene where they're like, we can't let them have an independent Gwimbly game. It's my property to sit on and do nothing with.
Oh, that's amazing. I still haven't seen season 2, but that is some insane satire right there.
There's only one episode of season 2, and it's very, very good.
You said I cannot shoot indoors, master.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love Smiling Friends, and if they're genuinely going in that direction, I don't know if I can love this show more than I already do. Like,
oh, it's great. Definitely check it out.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, well, we got one more. Burger.
Who is it, me?
Is it me you're looking? It's you.
It's me? Okay, so I need to just do a quick look here. Alright, so this is Skrongle with €5.
There you go.
Silver's design is too inappropriate. Look what's hanging on his head. Furlington boat character. It's in all caps, and I was like, I started reading, and I was like, what is this? And like, I thought you were about to say, oh god, thank you. Thank you for that. That made me laugh. Alright, this one's you then. Pup.
David Crespo sends $1.99. If Max Middleman was Sonic, we'd have world peace. I've heard little
that's a good
edits
choice.
of like Max Middleman Sonic, and yeah, I can definitely see it.
Yeah,
I do.
He's also Ryuji from Persona, so I love that. Let's do it.
Yeah, I do love the Sonics that we have right now, but like, Yeah, I'd be game to hear Max Mittelman in a Sonic Max Mittelman.
What happened there?
That was
I
just
glitched out.
no. I just went.
He's also Filbo from Bug Snacks. Bug Snacks is a good game.
I've
Play
got
that.
Bug Snacks. I've played a little bit of it.
It's a good game. It's a great game. Oh,
Ian
another one. Jeez. All right.
Walker. I'll put the super chat cut off in a bit, but for now, let's just enjoy the basket in the fundage.
$5 dues from Co-Evo Cartoonic. What are your thoughts on the rumor about Sony acquiring Paramount?
Well, we'll get that Amy Rose in Madam Web 3 or Madam Hedge. Madam Hedge, that'll be it.
My perspective on this is Sony should fuck the fuck off if they're gonna keep, like, laying people off. You better not be acquiring more shit and spending money that you should have been paying the people who are actually making the products that make you money.
God,
I can say, fuck off, Sony.
You ain't
Yeah.
kidding, Dylan.
And, grow some goddamn brain cells.
You ain't kidding. Well, hell yeah. Although it is quite funny that Sony have, like, the utmost faith in even the most piece of shit IP areas of the Spider-Man media.
I think I can't say it's intelligent or smart for them to do this. I think it's never bad to take a chance on something. But when you make Morbius and it flops in theaters twice, and it's just a huge, massive joke, you don't then go, alright, it's time for El Muerto. Like,
Yeah.
who's in fucking charge of this? Who decided that this was... Yeah, let's keep going, guys.
The thing is, I would take We Will Make a Movie About literally anything over when Walter Hamada was in charge of the DC branch of Warner Brothers, and he said something to the effect of, like, yeah, a Superman movie would be great, and we love the legacy of this character, but right now we just don't think it's going to really make enough bank. Effectively, it's like, wow, they didn't think Superman was marketable. Like, remember,
like
guys,
the
it can always be
superhero.
worse. It can always be worse, you know? Like,
I think we should replace every, like, big CEO person in the world currently with people, like, just new people, and then give them, like, you don't even need to give me like a the same wage. Give me like a shit ton less, pay everybody else more, and I'll just make decisions for you, and they'll be good, and things will go well.
Hey.
Just give me enough to, like, survive on. Give me enough to hire a personal chef, and that's all I need.
Yeah, I extend that invitation. Paramount, whatever. Like, I'll do what he'll do, and I'll do it even better. So, yeah.
You don't want to go down this road, pup. Don't fight me on this.
I'll go down the fucking road, dude. How many fucking plot suggestions have you made for Sonic 3?
Well, I haven't made as many as you, but you've recycled the same 2 ideas several times.
I'll kill you. I'll fucking kill you. That's it. I'm gonna take your colostomy bag and feed it to you.
You can't just... See, he's reusing that one, too.
I never said I'd feed it to you. Come on now. I said I'd take it, but I never said I'd feed it to you.
I swear I've heard it. I've heard it before. I've heard it all before.
I'll attach it to a super soaker and just give you a little squirty squirt.
Ugh.
You can.
All right, goodbye, everybody. Oh wait, hold on. What are you doing, pup? What are you making?
Oh wait, hold on. Ian,
What's up?
you got something you want to promote, buddy?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm IanWaffles. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at IanWaffles. More importantly, you should watch the channel Lowart, Lowart, because that's where I'm making most of my stuff. Where we are collaborating to continue talking about RG Sonic, which hopefully
yeah.
Game Apologist will also get in on the RG Sonic love. So hopefully there'll just be more of that coming to your sub feeds. But thanks as
Ooh.
usual for having me on the show.
All Archie is bad.
For being here.
I know. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, thank you so much for joining us again, Ian. And obviously, you're always welcome. Dylan. Dylan. Hi, buddy.
Hi, I released a video today.
I didn't ask.
About,
I haven't asked yet, buckaroo. You wait your fucking turn. All right, Dylan, what are you up to?
So I released a video today about... so if you guys liked the Tiny Chow Garden compatibility that the GameCube Sonic titles had, I found this really cool thing on Game Banana called Tiny Chow Garden DX that was released this week, I believe. It is a PC version of Tiny Chow Garden that you can connect to the PC versions of Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2. And I thought that was really neat. So I talk a little bit about the Chow Garden, and then I show you how to use the program so you guys can have that functionality of the tiny Chow Garden back. I think it's a very fun little thing that someone made. So if you like Chow Garden stuff, that's for you.
Well,
Awesome.
hell yeah.
Pop, what are you working on, dude? What are you doing?
I'm still working on Speeding Ticket, a Sonic adventure, and I've recently announced that is now going to be a fully animated project as opposed to a live-action hybrid thing. I just wanted to take this opportunity to show people what I would do with a Sonic thing. Ian, I gotta send you a picture of like what the art style is like, dude. Let's see, where are you in my thing? I want to show you this. I'll throw it up on screen as well, actually, just for people who want to see it. But it's very Spider-Verse inspired in the animation department. It will be kind of all animated on twos, just like Spider-Verse as well. But yeah, there's that. I'm gonna throw it up on screen for people to take a quick look. Ta-da!
Oh, cool. Yeah, it kind of has like a little cell shadedness to it as well.
Yeah, that's the kind of approach. CMJ is just asking how long will Speeding Ticket be. I expect about 10-15 minutes. And as always, I must mention that the model there is made by Dan Carter in 3D. I don't ever want to, not credit the dude. So yeah, there you have it. That's what I'm working on. But if you do want to check out something, Sonic fans, I suggest doing a little bit of homework based on this episode. I did my video on Justice for Amy Rose, which has, I go a lot more into depth about the importance of Amy as a character. And my video on how to launch the Paramount Sonic Cinematic Universe. How they can course correct so that they'll never have to justify the appearance of a Sonic character ever again. And yeah.
Wonderful.
Hey. Oh.
Makes the most sense.
Cruddy poos. Oh, look, it's a skeleton. We have to go now. Who wants the last word?
I don't.